And we are live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, Wayfarer. Take a moment to relax with me. So, what we're going to do is a short meditation or self hypnotic induction. So, take a deep breath, hold for 3, 2, 1, relax. Let it out. Imagine for a moment that you hold within your hand the key to unlock all the doors of the temple. Perceive, what does that key look like? Feel it in your hand. Imagine that it's the mercurial energy created by your deepest, calmest mind. It connects directly with your true self. As you imagine this key within your grasp, incant with me the ancient secret word. Abracadabra. Stay within that relaxed state, eyes closed if appropriate, and directly focus your imaginative energy into the key. Before you stands a door leading to your perfect life. Imagine what that door looks like and relax. Beyond it are all your wildest dreams fulfilled. It's a future state where those things you wish to occur, whether they be people, places, things, cultivation of deep, lasting relationships, unlimited wealth, health, and happiness, are all already within your possession. We're going to go even deeper before we step through this door, grasping your key, imagining again the dimensions of the key, the way it feels in your hand, the knowledge that your entire lifetime has been in the development of just such a key. You possess it, don't you, friend? You feel extremely grateful that you found it again at this time. Like a long-lost friend, it's returning to guide you home. For those of you just joining now, we're engaging in a bit of self-hypnosis and guided meditation. Take a deep breath, count to 3, and relax. You can gently close your eyes now if it's appropriate at this time. And imagine that you possess the key that will unlock the door leading to the fulfillment of all your wildest desires. Don't be afraid to think too big at this time what's beyond that door. Raise the key before you. See it in the mind's eye. Take a step towards the door, reaching out your either hand, whichever hand you're not holding the key in, and feel the front of the door. What's the material? What's the texture? Temperature? Resistance? Push on it a little. Push on it, my friend. Push on that door. It resists your touch. Let your hand drop down to the door knob below or above or to the side of, which is that keyhole that your key fits perfectly into. How about that door knob? Imagine it as an anchor to your grasping hand. Does it turn left or right? Does it click? Is it smooth? Is it that button type with a handle? Go ahead and grab a hold of the doorknob. Insert your imaginary key into the keyhole with a satisfying click. Turn the lock. How do you feel as you open the door to the beyond? Beyond the veil of the now? Don't bother yourself with what's occurring now around you, unless you're driving, of course. You're about to open the door onto the fulfillment of all your dreams and wishes. Union with a loved one, with the divine force above and beyond this world, which are the inner alchemical secrets that will unlock your own apotheosis. Do not open the door just yet, my friend. In fact, bask in the sensation of knowing that you can go beyond anytime you want. Take the key and relock that door, saving it for another time. Remove your key. Do you wear it on your neck, on a golden chain, or perhaps a golden rope of some kind? Do you slide it into your pocket, or do you simply abracadabra, make it disappear? It's up to you, but reclaim your mercurial energy that you created the key with. I like to store mine at the heart center, right under the sternum, just letting it reabsorb back into my center Dantian, the terrestrial Dantian, the one that communes with the world, breathing in and out with the Christ consciousness of communion with your fellow man and this vast terrestrial plane. Secret it away, my friend, for what's beyond that door should only be known to you. And one way you can interact with that energy is through this simple guided meditation of the Master Key of Revealing. Welcome back, Wayfarer. I didn't know if this transmission was going to be able to go or not, so I just wanted to do a little test run, a little 10-minute. I've got the day off because it's the holiday of Randolph Carter, October 7th, 1928, when he used the silver key to do the ritual of the silver key in the snake den outside of Arkham, in the hills outside of Arkham, Massachusetts. A lot has built up in this October in approaching the ritual of the silver key. I myself have been preparing for it with the 100-day challenge, Pathways of Magic. I hope you've been joining me on that journey. my laptop keyboard is broken right now, so I'm not able to type anything on it. And in fact, my mouse cursor doesn't even work very well. Like it won't click correctly. So in order for me to even navigate through to get with you right now was a bit of a hassle. And as you know, transmitting from behind the bamboo curtain here in Twilight Zone Old Peking can also prove to be a bit of a challenge. So I have extreme gratitude to be able to be here with you now, and I'm glad that you're able to join this transmission. I want to remind all of you that www.buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. I'm not a criminal, right? If you get a chance, go over there and check out the syllabus for this 100-day challenge, Pathways of Magic. I got mine right here. But I typed it up for you and I put it on the website. Mine's right here. The first one you can see there in dark ink is set clear goals. So I've got those. I've got my daily dream journaling. I'm doing magical ritual experimentation and making diligent records of that. Is the volume even coming through? Let me make sure I do a sound check, because that whole thing might have been lost. If you are out there in Happy Land, can you give me sevens if the audio is okay? It does look like there might be a couple of people listening, but I'm not sure if the audio is working. There's a wireless keyboard mouse set that runs from a USB port. I use one on my laptop to circumvent the bad keyboard. Thank you for that, Tuck Bivy. Okay, I'm not going to try to work out that name right this second because I'm not in a Caesar Sevens. Thank you, Sevens. I appreciate that. Yeah, and you're right. I've got a USB mouse. I was using my son's wireless keyboard and mouse to connect with my laptop, and you're right, that works. But his is set up for his gaming thing at home, so yeah, I could probably buy one for $10 or something. It's an acronym you made up, huh? Cool, very cool. Good to see you, Tuck. I don't know if you've are a long-time listener or if it's your first time. Please don't let it be your last time. Hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Oh, that happy horse shit that makes YouTube's algorithms bark like Pavlov's dog. That would be cool, man. Leave a comment on the video too. I'm glad that you're participating in. I call this the Ideas Room. I stole that from Dark Journalist. No, I didn't steal it from him, but I borrowed it. I don't know if you're familiar with the 100-day challenge. This one's Pathways of Magic. I've done this. I think this is the 6th or 7th 100-day challenge we've done on this channel. If you're subbed and you're a long-time listener, you do know that I like to practice magic. Now, I'm not sure about your politics on that, but just this morning I was listening to a really good program. I don't know if you know, with Magic with a K. I don't know if you know what that is or not, but there's a channel on YouTube called Motivational Speeches, and I like to listen to these sometimes in the morning after I've done my own magical practice. But there's one by Neville Goddard, Motivation. It's called Please Keep Going. You're so close. And it's really, really good. I'll show you that I don't know if that'll show or not. Let me see. Yeah, it looks like it might show. Okay, so yeah, that's what it looks like on YouTube on my phone. It's called Keep Going, You're So Close. Neville Goddard, Motivation. I don't think these are actually Neville Goddard's voice. It might even be a computer generated. It sounds like a person really reading it. But one of the things I like to do is shout out channels that I listen to, because there's so much content on YouTube that sometimes it's hard to weed through it all to find fun stuff that you enjoy. But Neville Goddard, it's like 100 years ago, I guess. He's like a motivational speaker. Doesn't have any information about it. It says, feeling like giving up? Discover Neville Goddard's powerful motivation in Please Keep Going. You're so close. Neville, Neville, Neville Goddard. And find strength. Ever felt like you're on the brink of success but struggling to hold on? In this video, we explore Goddard's encouraging words to keep going. When you're so close to achieving your dreams, learn how to tap into your inner strength and persist, even when the going gets tough. Yeah, really good one. It says it's under, yeah, you got it. Copyright disclaimer under section 107, blah, blah, blah. Note if you're represent copyright owner, blah, blah, blah. Bunch of stuff, keywords. Yeah, I don't know about this channel in particular. I just subbed it, in fact, because it seems like they do a pretty good presentation of the new thought era of like the 1920s. So a lot of this material comes out of like 100 years ago in the US. And I think a lot of these motivational speakers were just trying to bolster the confidence of salespeople in the sales industry, but they're really good to listen to. Like the whole new thought movement, I think that's what it's called, is so close to like hermetic sciences and mind magic. Like, you know, it was popularized in the book and the movie The Secret, right? Which is a basic overview. Kind of good fun, really. A good introduction for people into magic. But Neville Goddard in particular couches it in the language of the Bible. And so it's very approachable for people who are of the religious persuasion of like Christianity or any of the Abrahamic religions, really. I think it's based on some good foundational understanding of Kabbalistic ideas, though. Like if you listen to it, he's basically using the tree of life to directly connect with like the Catheric energy of the supernal triad and then bring that energy down into direct manifestation. And at the same time, doing it as like a mind science. So I think it's a lot of fun. I like listening to it. I believe that's a somewhat concise and approachable definition. But magic essentially is kind of along those lines of thinking, right? Like you have an entire vernacular of things to learn about and understand, and the jargon of magic. Of course, magic with a K, right? I don't know if that's, yeah, that appears correctly. So in this 100-day challenge, we're already in the second 10-day, which is gathering ritual tools. And so I'm about to drop the latest knowledge lecture for that one, which is going to be the theory of thirds. It's a theory I came up with. It's not a theory I came up with. It's just my understanding of the supernal triad and the Trinity. So I want to give a little deeper understanding. I call it the theory of thirds, and it starts with the three great deceptions. But I'm going to put that in another video. I've been working on my LBRP video that I want to drop. I wanted to drop it in the first week, but I didn't finish it, and it wasn't. I just didn't have the time to do the editing on the video that I wanted. I shot all the video, but now I want to sit down and like edit it and actually make it a production. So I haven't done that. I have done the first knowledge lecture for this 100-day challenge, which was on Volantia, decretism, and Possism, which you can learn more about through the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor, which was a precursor to the Hermetic Brotherhood of the Golden Dawn, Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. They took out Brotherhood because they want to be all-inclusive. So even 100 years ago, these guys were 19th century mystics were trying to bring the message forward, and they were trying to be all inclusive, you know, man and woman together, working together with angelic magic. And again, couched in much of the Abrahamic uh, language of the time. Of course, if you're talking about these things, you know, there are various periods in history where you would be guilty of heresy and blasphemy and, you know, witchcraft and stuff like that. And that's not what this is. That's not what this is. This is angelic magic done openly with God and his angels. I mean, whatever that means to you, right? It's not something that's blasphemous. It's not sorcery. It's not witchcraft. It's mind science, right? So some of the 20th century guys, you know, with the influence of Freud and Jung, started to mutate it into this idea of a psychological understanding of it, like exclusively, that it's all, if it's touching your brain, if it's penetrating into your brain, then it's a part of the mind in some way. And even if you can't reach out, as it were, into the universe and change those things that are out there, you could realign your perspective, your paradigm, and your molecular, you know, brain chemistry about how you viewed those things. So it is about shifting the perspective and the attention point. If you familiarized yourself with Carlos Castaneda's works throughout his 10 or 12 books on the way of the shaman, like his shamanistic teachings, then you know something about your energy egg and shifting the attention point. All of these things play in. So my understanding of magic is an exploration in this mind science and how we can cause real change to occur in the universe around us, or, you know, in the material plane at least, and on the varying grades of energy, with the wizard's will, the magical intent. And yeah, so that's what I like to explore and talk about here, and that's what the 100-day challenge is about this time. So do you have any questions? Do you think I'm a heretic? Do you think it's all hogwash, right? Or have you had a magical experience before? Okay, I'm not familiar with Michael Harner. Castaneda, yeah, not necessary. There are no real prerequisites, I would say, for this 100-day challenge. One thing I would suggest that magical practitioners do is get themselves a tarot deck and start to familiarize themselves with the imagery of the tarot. But that's entirely up to each practitioner. I like to use a tarot deck because it's like a memory tool. It's a memory palace. Way of the Shaman by Michael Harner. No, okay, I'm not familiar with it, and I will. Ooh, look at that! I cut to two aces. Very cool. The Ace of Cups and the Ace of Swords. Very nice. That's a fun little balance. One going up, one going down. Let me write that down. I like to learn new things. On this magical challenge, I've got some clear goals, and so reestablishing a new altar space. I've already got 1, 2, 3, 4 levels to my current working altar, but 5 really, 5, yeah, 5, yeah, because there's one here too. And there's one kind of there too. I like to create altar spaces kind of everywhere. Every magical endeavor I'm engaged in, I'll kind of establish a new fetish point, like a focal point for that magical energy to dwell as I work with it. And then when I achieve success, I'll set out some sacrificial offering. Oh, here's an interesting thing I discovered recently. There's an entire magical circle on YouTube called Boi, B-O-I. Have you heard of this? B-O-I. Let me write it down real quick. B-O-I. And I was thinking when I first saw it and heard about it, yeah, there it is. I thought, yeah, boy. And no, that's not what it means. It means blood over intent. And so let me go on a tangent really quick right here. And it turns out this group is like really big. It's like it's a magical cult where you drop a sigil, like a wish, like scripting, magical scripting, and then you prick your finger and put some blood on it as you pray, and then you burn it, right? And I thought, that's interesting. I've used that type of wish magic before, just with the sigils and the burning of the paper, but I've never put my blood on it. And I thought, it's the blood, like the drawing of the blood, that makes it so attractive to like 13-year-old girls. And so I think it's like a whole ring of pedophiles that are like trying to lure in young people interested in magic. And I thought, it's just what a waste of time. You don't need to draw any blood of any kind. And when I say sacrifice, like, I would not recommend ever doing engaging in any kind of self-harm, like drawing blood or self-flagellation or anything like that. Like, that's not necessary. That's a weak way of doing magic, really. They say it's so powerful. They're like, it's better than orgon energy. It's better than an orgasm. And it's like, oh God, you guys are so far from the mark. So, and the reason they're missing the mark, because magic, again, the kind of magic I'm promoting, is almost entirely based on, your communion with the divine, but something that Pascal Beverly Randolph, I think that was his name, called volantia. Now, I'm not sure if this term originally comes from him, because that's not the way I originally discovered the three steps in volantia, decreeism, and paucism. I learned it from another, like an academic journal. A guy had written an essay about it, and his elucidation of it was far superior to when I found it in its original source, which was, again, a book written by Pascal Beverly Randolph. Anyway, kind of a funny name, but he's one of the predecessors to the Golden Dawn as well. So this is digging really deep back into those 19th century guys that were engaged in kind of the New Thought movement. But I wanted to differentiate what I do for magic as opposed to like this, and you can check it out just for fun. Like, someone did a really good, right here, somebody did a really good, like, video essay on it, blood over intent. And I watched it, and then I dug in a little bit and watched a few of these guys' videos, and it's kind of along the lines of like the guy who had the long hair and was like, how to become a living god. And he would do like rituals and stuff on the internet. I think he got kicked off the internet because he was also engaged in some practices of self-harm. So, a lot of tangents today, guys. Anyway, week 1 was setting up an altar space and doing daily ritual. So the 100-day challenge is about 100 days of consecutively doing something attached with an idea. The idea here is magic. The first 10-day to get you started was doing some sort of daily ritual prayer or invocation. Doesn't have to be a prayer. When I say prayer, I'm not talking about getting down on your knees and whipping yourself and begging God to save you. That's not what I'm talking about. My type of prayer is invocation to the Godhead. Now, people say, Eric Dubay did a video recently called Praying or Pray. And it was really a disappointment, because these people that just jibe at others and throw shade and are really like diminishing the teaching and talking down to their audience. Yeah, right. I agree with you there. You guys can't see the chat, and I can't actually click on it right now because I'm in a situation where my keyboard isn't really working. So Tuck Bavy, um, Tuck. I'm just going to call you Tuck. Frater or Soros Tuck. Not sure. Are you a frater or a Soros? Says that he or she likes to avoid self harm, and that life brings plenty of harm as it is. And yeah, I would second that. I agree with you. Wow. Just cut to the chariot. Good stuff. Like me some chariot energy. Um, Let me try to get back on target here. So for me, adoration of the divine source. I've done a lot of path working to try to figure out and make communion with the God source in life, the divine energy above and within me, right? And one daily prayer that I do is called the adoration of the avatar, right? I'm not going to say the exact name because it's on buymeacoffee.com. You can check it out if you want. Just buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. All the info's there, and I don't want to cast pearls before the swine, so everybody should do a little deeper digging. It's all on there for free, of course. Almost everything I've put on Buy Me a Coffee is free. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to get a membership. You just got to put it in your browser and then wander over there and look at some of the documents. But it'll say that it's a part of the 100-day challenge, and it's a short prayer. You've probably seen me do it hundreds of times here on YouTube. So for the first 10-day, I was focused exclusively on just trying to do some dream journaling and doing the adoration of Abraxas or the Avatar. And it's holy art thou, Lord of the universe, the vast and the mighty one, creator of heaven and earth, maker of all things visible and invisible, master of both the light and the darkness, he who was, is, and always shall be. We adore thee and we invoke thee. Send us one of your divine spiritual agents, our holy guardian angel, to guide, to protect, and guide us through the innumerable snares of the earthly sphere, and a cleansing wind to disperse all negativity and endless human opinion. Teach us those things which we must know for the completion of the great work and the glory of thine ineffable name, Adonai. So it is commanded and confirmed, so mote it be. Amen. So in Eric Dubé's video, he said that prayer was basically useless and you should only pray to your inner spirit, to the spirit within. And this is fine and dandy for, each practitioner along their way, but it really chafed at me because I like to pray to the God source. And, however you may identify that God source to be. And it's not that I'm saying I like to do it, it's that I feel there is power in it and there is something above and beyond that, I'm not reaching out to and begging for, salvation or whatever, like some religions encourage you to do. And I'm not sacrificing my own internal gym of understanding and my own soul. I'm just reaching out to, the universal energy and that which is above and beyond and that which is within as well, within and beyond too sometimes. But I don't know. There's another guy I listen to sometimes. Like I listen to Eric Dubé sometimes, occasionally. I've kind of steered away from his videos a lot recently because he does seem to be so dismissive of his audience and even abusive to an extent. And Static in the Attic, I don't know if you guys ever watched that guy, but I listened to him a little bit. And he's been a lot of fun up until recently. Like he's also become extremely like holier than thou and demeaning towards other people's understanding. And I hope I've avoided that. I hope I don't talk down to anyone or act like I know more than you, because I don't, man. I'm just I'm a wanderer, a wayfarer, a wizard warrior, and wildcat, just like all of you, you know. And I'm looking for answers, and I like to think that the YouTube, the internet, and like live streaming especially is the low ground, right? Like I want to take the low ground in welcoming all people and trying to understand more, trying to bring the understanding to the next step, because I really enjoyed the teachings of people who do that, who took what was before, right, unburdened by what was before, according to old whoever, right? No, preserving what was gone before, building on it, right? We're always building on the foundation of those great giants who went before us, and then bringing it forward so that the next generation has a strong foundation, and then they can take it forward, right? You gotta carry the torch forward, right? Don't drop it halfway. Don't throw it on the ground and stamp it out and say we need to light a new torch. I mean, I don't think that's the best idea. I think that's obviously some of the things that that went before might be in the area of horse shit, but that's up to each and every individual to discern. That's the whole process of life. That's what we are. We're the workshop of the subtle origin. We're going through a process of distillation, and it should be whatever we bring forward is to the best of our understanding, as close to an objective truth that we can derive, right? That we can arrive at. And so, yeah, I'm not the most eloquent speaker, I'm not the most articulate, but I do love the interaction with the community, and I'd like to interact more with mystics and magical practitioners and people who are interested in the paranormal and the future. I mean, I think that we all have some interest in the future, right? We're headed there without any ability to stop. You know, we're on like a wild roller coaster ride, and the only time you get off the ride is when you jump. And a lot of people act like maybe that's something they want to do. They're talking about getting out of the hell realm and the soul trap, and I'm like, man, I don't know where you guys are. You're in a different reality than I am. It's not so bad, right? Like you said, there's enough harm in life as it is. Try to find a way to make things better for yourself and others. Um, so back to the work. You got to do the work, right? So in this next 10-day, what I recommend is gathering some of your ritual tools. You can summon those. We just did a short self-hypnosis on the ritual of the silver key. So I like to start with an internal representation of what it is I'm after, and then go out and find it in the world or create it myself. Some of the items are hard to create, some are easier. The first one I started with was actually my pentacle. I made a magical pentacle. If you don't know, there are four tools of the magician in ceremonial magic, and each one with four basic tools. Each one represents one of the four cardinal elements of the Hermetic sciences. We learn them in reverse order. So fire would be the first, but the first one you would seek to build might be your pentacle. Uh, you could gather them in any way you want, but the pentacle is typically the first. So it represents the earth element, the physical being, unconsciousness, the foundation, the material plane, all of those things. And it's represented by a pentacle, which is not a pentagram. A pentagram is the five-pointed star, but a pentacle is an item that has some sort of magical sigil on it in order for you to connect with solidified magical intent. There's lots of different ways you can make them. Sometimes I make them very simply. Like here's one I made, a Yud He Vah basic pentacle, and it's a working pentacle. So It's just made on a piece of cardboard, and I will set this down and then use it in my magic. Obviously, this is just one that was it was created for a single intention. Um, on the back, there's another part of the magical energy there. But this one was created for a single intention. It's not the one I use in consistently in ritual magic. I've done a video on it uh, in the past, and it was probably an hour long, so you can check it out if you want. But the 4 magical weapons. So I made my pentacle, I made a wand, and then I summoned my cup and air dagger. And the reason is because I felt that was just a natural magical process for me. The wands and pentacles are far easier to make than a knife, like a dagger, like metallurgy. I'd like to do one, but I haven't had the opportunity as of yet to actually make a dagger of my own. You could buy them online. You could make one if you have a friend that's a blacksmith. Same with a cup. You could make one out of wood. You could do something else to come up with one. Let me try to find that last ace. Why is that not ace not appearing? I must have skipped it. There it is. Okay. Yeah. So the 4 elemental weapons of the magician are the pentacle, the cup, the wand, and the air dagger, right? The air blade. You could use any blade. You could use something else too. You don't have to specifically stick to those weapons. Sometimes for air, I use a paper fan, right? I find this to be a useful magical implement, magic wand for the air element. It's a nice one. A wooden sword. Now, your magical sword is not the same as your air dagger, but a nice little wooden sword works good. Yeah, those are the 5 elements are actually in the Chinese system of internal kung fu and medicine and stuff. So that's a little different. In the Hermetic sciences, the Kabbalistic system, there are 4 primary elements and then a 5th element of spirit. They don't directly correspond, but you could say that wood represents air because wood produces oxygen, right? Fire, water are the same, and then earth are the same. So the wood's the only thing, and then you would have metal left over. So metal can represent the mercurial element or spirit. So they do correspond to the Eastern and Western system, but our Western mystery tradition, although influenced by the Eastern tradition, is more a synthesis than the Taoist system. Like if you get into the Chinese system, it's very exclusive to China. And it was originally, this might be where all magic originally comes from. I'm a little bit suspicious that it is, and that it was based on Qigong magic. And the Taoists, some Chinese Taoist sects believe that Jesus was actually brought here to learn magic, that he was a magi, and he was of the Chinese initiative system. He was an initiate of the Oriental arts. But that's neither here nor there. You're going to get too much into politics if you go down that road. Yeah, so Jesus's magic was based on direct manifestation of the God force, right? And so he would connect, he and his wife, would connect with the internal energy of God at the center Dantian, and then generate that force through love straight into the world. That's why he was able to, heal people, like laying of hands and stuff, and walk on water, because he understood Qigong, or light Qigong, like light, making the body light, and lots of other things. But it would, and he says, I'm the son of God, but he said, we're all sons and daughters of God. And he said that we could achieve even greater things. Like, look at us now. Any ordinary average individual can go out and purchase a magic mirror and connect with the entire world. And not only can you connect with the entire world, that transmission can be recorded and it can spread now and in the future, and it can in the past. Like you're reaching into the dark mirror can reflect into all times, and it can even go beyond our time. Like, aliens 1,000 years from now could be picking up this transmission and see Frank Monday and be like, motherfucker, I love Frank Monday. They're gonna imagine gray aliens 1,000 years from now loving wearing Frank Monday shirts because they caught some of my transmissions and they thought they were interesting. And that could have happened 10,000 years ago. And so you really start to blur in the timelines and your paradigm becomes more malleable, and the magician can shift the attention point, at will. And as a result, he or she can affect great change in not only his own world, but in the fate and fortune of his family and maybe even his entire nation, and so on and so forth. So we'll not go too far down that rabbit hole. But to sum up, magic is the art and science of creating tangible change in the material realm that we know of, right? The material sphere. And with your magical intent and your wizard's will, right? So you're using the intention to create change. And change is going to happen whether you want it or not, but you want to create those changes that benefit yourself and your community and your development, your spiritual cultivation, so on and so forth. Second 10 day, guys, daily tarot contemplation ritual. So in the second 10 day, and I'm at the end of it. Let me check to make sure. Give me just a second, guys. Let's see here. We got 1, 7, 8. I'm on day 18 of the 100-day challenge, but I'm in the second 10 day of the 100-day challenge. And what I recommended, and I'm a little late in telling you guys this, you might be a little bit behind me, is the tarot contemplation ritual. So you take the tarot cards, set them in your hand if you have them, shuffle them a couple of times, make sure you shuffle them quite often, sleep with them under your pillow, that kind of happy horse shit. You can see lots of videos on the tarot. But I like to keep all of mine upright. So I cut my deck and I shuffle in a manner. Ooh, nice. Did you see that? The Ace of Swords to the Fool. A little bit of synchronicity there, huh? And I like to shuffle them so that they all stay upright. In the system that I study, we don't use reverse cards. They're either dignified or ill-dignified, depending on the cards around them and their relationship to other cards. So reverse tarot card readings are not a part of the Brotherhood of Luxor. And then I say a little prayer after I've shuffled them nice, usually 3 times. 3 is a charm, right? About to drop the knowledge lecture, Theory of Thirds. Make sure you guys check me out on www.imnotacriminal.com/Frank Monday, right? The old buy me a coffee. Like and subscribe, all that happy horse shit. I put the cards between my hands after shuffling them, and I say a brief prayer. Heaven and earth, divine spirits and ancient masters, your son has a question. Please respond to me through the system of the tarot. I will accept this response, whether it shows me good fortune or misfortune. So it is commanded and confirmed. So mote it be. Amen. Then I'll cut my deck, set that on the bottom, and then draw the top card. Ooh, got a nice sun card. And today is beautiful sunny, man. Totally clear skies. Lovely autumn day. So I don't actually have a question, so I wasn't asking a question. So in my tarot contemplation, I just ask, what tarot card should I contemplate today? Once I see it, whether it be good fortune or misfortune, right? I scan it real quick into the memory, which means I move left to right about a quarter of an inch at a time down the card until I've scanned it all into the mind. And then I close my eyes and contemplate in the mind's eye the reflective image of what I scanned in. So I use about a minute or so to scan it in line by line into my mind, right? All the way down the card, and then close my eyes and try to recreate it in the same scanning process. I find that it's good to go in all directions. So start left to right, top to bottom, scan it in one time, close the eyes, try to recreate and see it. Then I like to go bottom to top in the opposite direction, right to left, bottom to top. So then I scan it back in again. Close the eyes, try to do it again. Sun, child on a horse, flag waving, sunflowers, brick wall. What's the feeling? Delight, expansion, happy times. Wow, good, powerful sun energy, right? John Denver's song comes to mind, right? Sunlight on my shoulders makes me happy, that kind of thing. See if I missed anything. Pamela Coleman Smith's sigil down there at the bottom right-hand corner of the card, right? I like to think about the way the sun is written. Are there any acronyms I can come up with? He unsith, Hethan unsith, so on and so forth. The number at the top, 19 in Roman numerals, right? 19. Contemplate that numerologically. What does that mean? It's a 1 and a 9, which becomes 10. It's a full cycle of completion, 1 through 9. 19 in Arabic numerals, 19 in Chinese symbols, right? Go through those things, so on and so forth. What is that wonderful banner that he has, right? He's got a stick with a flag on it. I always like to think of the U.S. flag. I love it. I think it's a beautiful flag. It's the flag of my my nation, my motherland, mother and fatherland, right? Well, my fatherland is probably actually Germany. My dad was German descent, his family, German Irish, Irish German, and then my mother's is Irish. So I like to think of those flags as well whenever I see flags portrayed in the tarot cards, right? But just try to get a feeling of it. And then after you've done your tarot contemplation, right, do your relaxation ritual and chill. Hey, we've got a new visitor to the chat. It is Canadian Spaceman. Good to see you, Canadian Spaceman. Welcome. That's a very big wooden swizzle stick behind you that looks like a sword. The giant you stole it from will be angry. Okay, fun stuff. Yeah, that's a nice little swizzle stick. I like to skewer some giant olives on there, and then set that in my giant. Who is that dancer gal? That burlesque dancer that does the big martini cup, and she like does an erotic dance in a martini cup, a striptease. What was her name? Black hair, really pale white skin. I forgot her name, man. I really liked her when I was young. But my taste is a little more refined these days. Yeah, this is a wooden sword. I like to have a nice wooden sword as a magical weapon. As you get older, like I've done kung fu my whole life, and I used to practice with a combat steel sword. But a combat steel, Betty Page? No, not Betty Page. She's exclusively a burlesque dancer. She was popular in Hollywood, like probably in the 1980s, maybe 1970s even. I don't know, is she that old? She's kind of got the Marilyn Manson look. Like, I think she was friends with Marilyn Manson. She's getting way old now, though. I think she's like probably in her 60s. The only stripper in a big water bowl I remember is Sean Penn's brother as a wrestler. She was also okay. No, I won't remember her name right now. I actually got her autograph at the Kamikaze, the last public appearance of Stan Lee in LA. I was there. I showed up. I have an uncle who's an actor in LA, and he took me to Comic Con. He's like, I got a ticket for you. It was the Kamikaze. It was Stan Lee Comic Con. And I was there. I was super excited. I got to have a picture with Stan Lee. Like, yeah. And he came to our booth, like my uncle's little film company that he's in. He's a SAG guy, so he's been on the Super Bowl and shit, Super Bowl commercial time. But Stan Lee came to our booth and did an interview, and that was his last public appearance, guys, before he died. So yeah, he was like 92, 93, something like that, or even older. I don't remember. But he was I knew he was on his last legs. Like but it was super exciting to be like right next to him and actually touch him, like physically touch him. I touched him. God, how exciting for a young man that grew up in LA. Like I was born in the early 70s, and growing up in LA, like I used to take the bus to downtown LA to go to the big comic book stores and try to get some of the greats, like guys who drew Batman or something like that. Mostly DC. I really like DC. But to get them to sign my comics. And yeah, so I grew up in that Hollywood stars in my eyes, man, when I saw him. Anyway, what did that have to do with? Oh, that burlesque dancer was at that Kamikaze, and I bought one of her pictures. Like if you buy a picture, then she will sign it. It's like $20 or something, I think. Might have been 50, I don't remember. But she was one of my favorite burlesque dancers when I was like a teenager. And so I was like, oh God, yeah, I'm gonna grab her autograph. And I didn't get Stan Lee's autograph. I didn't even bother him. I mean, at his age, I wouldn't even expect that he could hold a pencil. Maybe he could, but I did gonna fucking harass some guy, that's on his last legs. That's as much as he did for the culture. He did quite a bit. I thought it would be arrogance to ask him for an autograph. In fact, I didn't even think about it. Just like being near him and being able to say hello was all I needed. And get a picture. I did get a picture. I thought that was a lot less intrusive. But I guess if I was smarter, I probably would have gotten his autograph. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so there's the wooden sword. Yeah, so when I'm doing my basic magical practice, I will use a wooden sword. You'll see that in the upcoming video, the lesser banishing of the pentagram. When I do war magic, I use some kind of spear, right? When I'm doing Martian magic, like when I want to reach out and poke at someone who's done me wrong and get a little vengeance magic, then I use a spear. Yeah. Just a moment with the master, man. That was good enough for me. I've also got a dark magic sword, which is a giant black katana, and I'll only use that for black energy rays, which I'll seldom use because you got to be extremely careful with black magic. Like honestly, I would never do it, but I keep some implements of the crafted hand because I am a magician, and you never know. There might be a time when I need to use a really powerful either Martian or Satyrian magic, which I don't normally do. I like to stay on the happy side of life. And so, unless you cross me, right? Yeah, see, I just talked about it and then I cut to the 10 of Swords. That's what happens if you fuck around with dark magic right there. Chances are you'll end up like that, right? So better you don't do it, right? Stick to the angelic magic. And we don't really, ooh, and look at that. Right after that, I cut to the devil. Again, you start even thinking and talking about black magic and you're going to get into trouble. So yeah, don't do it. Right, reminds me of that 1980s song. I think it was the 80s, might have been the 70s still. Uh, Grandmaster Flash and the Sugar Hill Gang, right? Grandmaster Flash and the Sugar Hill Gang with white lines blow away. Ticket to ride, White Line Highway. Tell all your friends they can go my way. Pay your toll, sell your soul. Pound for pound costs more than gold. The longer you stay, the more you pay. My white lines go a long way, either up your nose or through your veins, with nothing to gain except killing your brain. Freak. Rock. You guys remember that song, White Lines, by the Sugar Hill Gang? That was the first vinyl album I ever saw in my life. My sisters were older than me. I have two older sisters, about 8 and 10 years older than me, and they were bringing home. We're in LA, we're in the ghetto, and they were bringing home vinyl records of all kinds of funky ghetto baby rap and shit. You remember that? Yeah, it's funny. It's so funny. It's so interesting how, like, those things you learned in your extreme youth get stuck in your mind eternally, right? Like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, some of those nursery rhymes you learned, they'll always be there. That's magic too. That's setting the foundation, right? Using the ideation of the conscious mind to put it into the subconscious level, and then so deep into the being, so many repetitions over such a long period of time that it literally becomes second nature, and it can manifest in perfection anytime you call it forward. Holy art thou, Lord of the universe, right? Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. This kind of prayer is not the same thing that old Monsieur Dubé was talking about. And he's got it wrong, man. Good, serious invocation and prayer are a communion with divine source energy. And they're a type of mastery, a type of kung fu, right? And when you invoke it, invoke or evoke, it has real power. It has a tangible power. Yeah, cartoon theme songs. I don't know if I could think of any, but yeah, I got gray hair. Is that called the midlife crisis when you start singing the songs of your childhood? I don't think so. I don't think. Oh, there was one that really influenced me. Yeah, this will date me for sure. G.I. Joe, a real American hero. G.I. Joe is there. Fighting Cobra, an international terrorist organization hell bent on destroying the world. Right? G.I. Joe is a special operations unit. Yeah, that was probably my favorite Saturday morning cartoon of all time. Go Joe! I love the fucking G.I. Joe, man. Yeah, I cut finally and shuffled to the star, so I'll leave it there. All right, card number 17. That's not the one I originally cut to, though. My tarot contemplation card for the day is the Sun. All right, guys, so in this second 10-day, you can find all of this information, this entire course syllabus, over at www.buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. Elemental contemplation as well. So contemplating the 4 elements, gathering your magical tools. I showed you a couple of mine. I'm not going to get them all out, but I will show you my cup and pentacle. We'll just go with the pentacle to start. So this is after I returned to my magical journey. This is a pentacle I made from cardboard and paper stock and then just paints. So I think it's great because a pentacle should be, like a tangible item you can use and that you frequently use. I painted this one actually with gouache. I probably shouldn't have done that, but then I covered it in wax, beeswax, to keep the gouache from bleeding off on my hands. But it's not perfect. It was my first go at making a pentacle like this, so I'll show it to you. Again, this one was developed and designed for a specific purpose. And I have some like this. I have actually quite a few of these that are designed and developed for different purposes. But this is a good representation of the kind of pentacle I made. You can see that the edge is just, so I took double corrugated cardboard, cut it into a circle, and then put a thin strap of like cardstock cut thin along the edge to cover it. And it turned out really good, man. I think it's great. I won't show you the back because there's a secret sigil on the back. But yeah, I like to use this kind of thing. I think it's a fun way to make pentacles. You just set it on your altar, on your working space, and then you can use it as your pentacle. I keep mine wrapped since it's the square of Saturn. I keep this one wrapped in a pirate handkerchief with the Jolly Roger, right? Old Skull and Bones 322. So that's good fun. Yeah, G.I. Joe, real American hero. I'll go ahead and show you a couple more of my magical implements. This is the cup I use, and I believe it's brass. That's what I'm going to go with. Is this brass, guys? Does this look like brass? Is there any danger in drinking out of brass? Like, is this... It seems like it's almost stainless steel underneath, right? And then like brass coated or something. I remember where my parents bought this. They bought this in a set. And it was in a place in LA, in Long Beach, California, called the Ports of Call. And they sold tons of stuff made out of this material. And I think all this stuff was being imported from India at the time. Maybe not India, maybe China, who knows? But wherever they were importing stuff in LA, some of the ports, but it was called the Ports of Call. Is it brass? Yeah, it might be brass. Is it safe to drink out of brass? I don't really drink out of it. It's a ritual implement. So it represents the element of water, the emotions, the subconscious. And I just set it on the altar when I'm doing that type of work. Another one, this one's wrapped in an American flag that's actually black. It's supposed to be blue, but it's like really dark blue, so it almost looks black. But I like to keep my wand wrapped in the American flag because it really represents a fiery power of your homeland and that kind of spiritual intent. So this is one wand I made. It's a fire wand, and yeah. I made it from a single dowel, and just hand painted. Again, I was using gouache as paint, which isn't a good paint because as soon as you touch it, it leaks. But I sprayed this with like an acrylic cover. And so I carved it into, I wanted to get a round shape on the bottom and then more of a pointed shape at top. That's my favorite type of wand. It looks just like the one that appears on the world card in the Pamela Coleman Smith Tarot, that the goddess, the mother goddess of the universe, is holding. So I really liked that shape, having learned this tarot first and being most directly connected with it. But the wand on the magician's table is actually quite large. It's more like the one behind me. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Seems like I just cut to it a minute ago, but now it has disappeared. But yeah, they use living wands in some of this. There we go. Yeah, so I always thought it kind of looked just like this one. Like the wands the mother goddess held. And so I envisioned it, and then I created it. So I carved that one, you know, whittling and painting. The answer for brass is yes and no. Really? You're lucky it has not tarnished unless you are polishing it. Yeah, I keep it polished. I'll take like a microfiber cloth and maybe take some toothpaste or something and try to keep it polished down. But it seems like it'll tarnish. Not safe to drink from brass. Roman Catholic priests drink from a brass cup every Sunday, I thought. Yeah, I don't really drink from it, but occasionally I'll put some wine on the altar and then throw it back, and will drink from it occasionally, but not routinely, only during certain ritual work. Yeah, so there's a magical wand. Again, you keep them wrapped up, and I keep them all in a wooden box and out of the sight of the profane. In fact, according to magical tradition, you're not even supposed to show your magical implements to other people. But I'm not showing them to people. I'm not showing them to the profane and the mundane, the swine, as it were. I'm sharing them via my magic mirror here with people who are interested in gathering in a magical endeavor in order to promote their own spiritual cultivation and understanding of the paranormal, right? Reaching out beyond the veil. So I'll put those away. And I won't actually show you guys my air dagger because that one's a little even more sacred. Hey, what's up? It's the Sanity Machine. Good to see you, man. How the hell are you? Yeah, I don't know if it'll work or not, but yeah, I'll throw a link in there. You could join and hang out. We're talking about magic. If you try to, I'm not going to bully you, of course, but if you would try to stay on point and talk about things that are related of the paranormal and and we'll try to stay out of the hell realm as long as you're not coming with your persona of the Clown King and Team Evil. If Team Evil doesn't show up and start badgering me and attacking me for my views, I would love to have you on, man. If you guys don't know, the Insanity Machine is a channel by Monsieur King Stephen, who I like to call the Clown King. And he has an entire entourage that are known as Team Evil, and they kind of engage in mocking people and laughing at their antics. So it'll be good fun to talk to you again, Stephen. I always enjoy your company, sir. I'm putting the link in the chat now. I don't know if it's gone through or not. It says StreamYard Wupak DGRGH. Let me see if it'll respond for you. I hope that was a wonderful introduction for you, King Stephen. Press Command and E, it says. What's that up with? Oh, one of the problems I'm having right now, Stephen, is that my keyboard, I spilled some coffee on my keyboard earlier this week, and now I have to get the keyboard changed. It's not working anymore. Oh wow, let me see what you got going on here, guys. Yeah, so before I bring King Stephen on, I will delineate away from the 100-day challenge, and maybe I'll cut these into 2 videos, but I'll sign off by saying, everyone, for the 100-day challenge, everyone's welcome to join. It's the 100-day magical challenge, Pathways of Magic. Make sure you check me out on www.buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. And that way you can get the syllabus and you can keep up with it. I'm on day 18. Some of you that might be participating may or may not be about there. So as we wander into the abodes of the future, keep doing good magic. Let me give me just a second, Stephen. How the hell am I supposed to do this? Add to stage. Is it going to work? Is it going to work? Yeah, it looks like it worked. Let me test the volume. Can you hear me? Is there anybody in there? Holy fuck. Why?
Yes, I can
I
hear
see
you.
your volume working, but it's not.
Hello?
I can't hear you. Let me see.
Hello?
Mute tab. Unmute tab. Why is there no... Maybe my... Oh, I know what's up. Hold on, man. Oh, the fucking computer, man.
Hello.
This thing is a nightmare, man. I spilt I can't none of my keys are working right now. I spilled
Hello.
coffee on the keyboard and hold on, give me just a second, man. Go ahead and introduce yourself, King Steven. It looks like my computer's
Hello.
fucking up a little bit.
Can you
If I
hear
drop
me?
out, just keep maintaining the conversation and keep it going
Hello?
forward. Much love, brother. Let me try to
Okay.
adjust this to see if I can get your
Hello. Hello,
transmission.
everyone. Hello. Hello. This is El Diablo Radio International, the greatest show in hell. Nobody does it better. I took over another live stream. Here we are. Everybody listening in, check this out. El Diablo Radio International. We're live from here to China. We're live from here to China.
Okay,
Hello?
you still there? Hello.
Hello. I'm
Hello, can you
here.
hear me? Yeah, good
I
man.
can
Good to
hear
see you,
you.
man.
I can hear
Good.
you. Okay,
Yeah,
you
I
hear
can
me
hear.
now?
I can. Yeah,
You love me long time?
I do. I love you long time. Sucky fucky. Um, I spilled a
Hello.
fucking cup of coffee on my laptop last week, and now it's just fuck. I shorted out the keyboard.
Oh no.
It still marginally functions though, but I'm gonna get like a cheap, keyboard, and I'm gonna get the keyboard replaced because it's the only laptop I got right now. But yeah, so
Oh.
all like the keyboard, if I shut the lid for just a second and then pop it open, the keyboard will function for about 5 to 10 seconds. And so that's how I'm operating right now, man.
Oh wow.
Bit
That's
of a challenge.
crazy.
Yeah,
Oh
no
damn.
worries.
So
Yeah,
this show was about doing magic? I just hopped on. I just saw that you were live and I came over, clicked clicked and came over, so
well, yeah, good to see you, man. In fact, speak of the devil, and he doth appear. Just the other day, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I was on a long vacation and I was watching some of your videos. I was checking out some of your content. I was over on your channel, and so I thought of you, and then suddenly you appear. It's kind of spooky, huh?
ooh, spooky. I was just called the devil actually earlier on Jack's channel
Oh,
tonight.
yeah, Jack Talcott, was he transmitting?
Yeah, he said the devil inside, and it made me think of the NXS song from years
Oh, okay.
ago. The
Yeah, yeah.
devil inside, the devil inside, every single one of us, the devil inside. That song.
Yeah, that was a good tune. I remember
That
that
was a
one.
good song. I remember that. Yeah. So that came to mind because I was like, wow, that's kind of flattering that he's calling me a rock star. Basically, he's saying King Stephen, you're like a rock star. You have the devil inside because he's viewing me as an opposer, as a great
Right.
opposer standing against him. But
Well, I like your little what is that called? Profile pic, right? That you're using right now. It's very
oh
cool. You
yeah,
got
that's
like
that's not me actually. That's iGuru. That's somebody
okay.
that's part of my channel, but he's well he does his own thing.
Well, yeah, that's very apropos for today's conversation on magic. You're probably familiar with like Crowley's idea of magic, that it's the art and science of creating change to occur in conformity to your will, right? That's how he defined it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you're probably familiar with all the chaos magicians of the 1990s.
Well, I how do I put this? I think that even in the spiritual realms, that it will conform to my will, and that I will have my will be done. Thy will be done, and that this place will be sealed in like a tomb. That I will seal it
Yeah.
up. And I know that sounds dark to some people, but
No, as
I do that view
as
this as a hell realm. So go ahead.
yeah, on earth as it is in heaven, right?
Thy will be done, and my will be done. So I do think that there is great power in the will and intention and imagination, and that all ties in with magic and magical abilities and magical powers and magical realms, magic spells. You might
Yeah.
say it's all
Magical
related. It's all interconnected.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
there's a relationship between these things in the spirit realms and magic, and with our will. The will can be very powerful, even in this shitty limitation realm of limitations. I'll say realm of degradation and realm of limitations. If somebody stands strong, and you have a very very strong will, and you're strong like a rooted big old tree that's 200 years old, and you say no, you move, and you just root yourself, it's very difficult to move or change a being if they have a strong will.
Right. Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, invoked Crowley at the
Yeah,
start of the Aeon of the new Aeon of Horus. And a lot of people misunderstand that. They misconstrue what he said. They think that it's like a they think it's a mantra to do whatever the fuck you want. But what he's saying is that if you refine your will and intention, and like say you want to get something done, then a bunch of other motherfuckers are standing in your way. Do what you will means that you should do what you originally intended to do, no matter what type of obstacles present themselves to you. Right. So it's more of self-discipline and overcoming things than just, obviously he didn't end well, so he didn't leave behind a good legacy, but his understanding was in the right place
yeah.
at the
He
time.
he didn't leave a beautiful, exquisite corpse. He kind of drug addict out in a way, but I understand what you're saying. But he also connected it with love and loving oneself, and that was part of "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law," and that was in the book of the law. That was in his little book, Book of the Law, that he wrote. In
Right.
case the audience is wondering, that's where that whole thing comes from. That was actually given to me as a gift by an ex-girlfriend decades ago. I had
Yeah,
that book a long time ago. So
you should burn that motherfucker. He says at the end of it that you should burn it after reading it one time. He was a funny
yeah,
guy. Crowley did a lot of good work to kind of popularizing magic, but
yeah. I
he
haven't burned it. I still have it somewhere.
do you?
I
Yeah,
haven't burned it, but yeah.
it'll.
He also had a book of poetry. I think it was called White Stains, and he had a cum stain of his apparently on the original first editions, on every copy that was printed in the first edition. I guess it
Yeah.
came
So
on the cover. That's
yeah,
what
yeah.
I heard.
His sex magic was kind of brought over from the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor, and I was just discussing this about Frater Pascal Randolph or whatever. He was actually like a half black dude that lived like in the at the end of the 1800s. So like the at the before like the end of the 19th century. Anyway, nobody ever mentions this guy. Very few people do, but yeah, he was big on when you're engaging in coitus that you have a magical intention and you don't tell the young girl, you get like a young girl, a sexual partner, and you don't tell her what you're up to, but you engage in this magical intention. And then at the point of climax, when you fire the wand, then you decree. So he had a process called volantia, decreeism, and paucism. And the volantic intent is arousing your cock, getting hard and getting a girl to have sex with you. And then the decreic moment is when you fucking orgasm and fire the organic energy into the atmosphere. And you could fire it up into her cavern or all over her face or whatever. But then at that moment, you decree internally your magical wish. And then the girl is supposed to immediately leave your room. He has like all kinds of prohibitions written out in his book. I think the book is called Sex Magic, something like that. But Crowley was basically just like bringing that forward. Like, I think that was a huge influence on Crowley. Crowley never mentions it, never gives credit to the guy. But a lot of what Crowley engaged in was like, he was more into the ceremonial side of it, but it included that element of sex magic. The big difference with Taoist magic is that it's like in the common vernacular of kids these days, they call it edging, right? So you get the magic wand fired up, but you do not ejaculate. That's the huge difference, that you sublimate that seminal energy, and that it's even more powerful than letting go of it. But yeah, they were all about firing off the cannon. Crowley was big on it, but I think he was into gay sex too and stuff. So yeah, and it's okay to be gay these days. Like gay sex is, it's in the mainstream. So I don't know. I'm an old school guy. I was raised a little more traditional, and I still have maybe some outdated values.
Well, yeah, the Panelverse probably knows a lot about gay sex. That might be that might be something that Jack Talcott knows about, and Polly and some of these creatures. But yeah, I did hear that Crowley had gotten his face painted by a lot of gay men and stuff like that, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's Crowley wasn't one to give a lot of credit to others, from what I recall reading him and stuff. He didn't really credit anyone else that I can think of. He
Right,
just
because
kind of
he was the
usurped
beast.
and absorbed and adopted and copied and reject regret. But yeah, he was egotistical. He wanted to be known as this brilliant magician. Um,
Yeah, and he was a latecomer too. He was a latecomer to the Golden Dawn. Um, William Wayne Westcott, and McGregor Mathers. One of my favorites. A lot of people don't have much interest into him because most of his magic is like highly influenced by Abrahamic religion, and Christianity was the guy who did the tarot, the Arthur Edward Wyatt guy. Some of his writings, though, I really like it. Like he has a really flowery way of talking, and he's always giving credit to like Jesus Christ and the only begotten Son, and he does a lot of prayer work in his magic. But he did that because he was, he was maybe grifting to some extent. He was marketing a part a portion of the population that were interested in these ideas on New Age thought and mysticism, but he couldn't directly oppose Christianity. Like Crowley went, down the path of Luciferian, Satanism and this kind of thing. Not really, but people thought of him that way. They perceived him that way, like a kind of precursor to Anton LaVey. Whereas A. Wyatt, one of my favorite writers on the subject, he was just different. Everyone has their own interpretation. In fact, Crowley had a secretary named Israel Regardie who did, in my opinion, much better work in bringing the magical tradition into the modern era. Like he was a psychologist in Southern California when I was a kid. I've mentioned him in the past, but some of his teachings had a more of an influence on me than Crowley. I didn't even learn about Crowley until later on. Crowley was a latecomer for me. Like I was probably in my mid-20s, and I met some guys that were in Thelema, and they had like a gay brotherhood in I was actually living in Middle America at that time. But yeah, they called it a Thelema group, and like they knew I was interested in the Golden Dawn, so they invited me over. But yeah, they were full on into ceremonial magic and wearing the robes, but they were also into gay sex, and I was like, oh man, I'm not down.
ugh, ugh,
Yeah, I wasn't down with
ugh.
that.
Butt stuff, butt sex.
Right,
Did you
because it
ever?
just seems dirty to me. I mean,
Yeah, it would be. It'd be nasty. They'd probably be shitting all over the place and just
right,
gross.
raw
Yeah.
dog in the Hershey Highway. It just seems like,
Oh damn.
anyway, not my thing. So if it is your thing,
Did you
that's
ever hear
cool.
that old Ozzy song? I think the first time I heard of Crowley's name was when I was a kid. It was Mr. Crowley.
What
Durner.
on in
What's
your
going on in your
hand?
head? That one. I mean,
Did
oh,
you talk
Mr.
to the
Crowley.
dead? Yeah, good one. I think that's the only. Yeah, I think that's the way most people knew about Crowley, right? Like, why would you even go beyond Black Sabbath's depiction of him? That and
I was like, who's that Crowley guy? Who's
yeah,
he
he was talking
singing
about
about?
him, and when he wrote the song Wizard too. What was the name of that song? When a wizard walks by, tinkling bell.
Yeah.
And LSD. That song was about LSD too, or that's what one of my friends told me. Like when I was young, I heard that song, and I'm like, "What
When
the
a wizard
fuck's?"
walks by. And then
Yeah,
there
what's he
was a
talking about?
fairies wear boots. I think that was part of the panel verse as well. He might have been singing about way back then because there's a lot of fairies, but probably not the kind Black Sabbath was singing about. Different kind. They were into magical fairies
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that sort of
Someone
stuff.
someone in the chat says the opening of Mr. Crowley is epic. Yeah, I don't remember, but yeah, I agree it is. What does 5 by 5 mean? Can you see the chat, King Stephen? Do you know what five
Yeah,
by
I can
five
see the
means?
chat. Tuck by V. Tuck says 5 by 5, not my thing. The opening of Mr. Crowley's epic. Yeah, I see it. I
What's
thought the
5 by 5?
StreamYard link said Wuhan Tupac. I thought it was like a combination of Wuhan Tupac after StreamYard.com, the link.
Yeah, it did. That's trippy, huh?
I was semi dyslexic when I saw that. I was thinking, is that
Wu-
Wuhan, China, with
Yeah,
Tupac
it's the Wu Tang Clan with featuring
and
Tupac
Doctor? There's
and
Doctor in there as well. I
yeah,
was like,
and
what is
Drake.
it sending me a message? Is this a
It,
magical message? What is this?
it is, yeah. It's the Wu
It's
Tang
kind of a
Tupac
trippy
Clan
link there.
featuring Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. Yeah, that's weird. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Canada Spaceman said, I am curious as I know there are entities. They used to haunt me, then annoy me. Now, not much activity. Well, yeah, there are entities. There's things around us that we can't see because it's at a different frequency. They could be right in the room with us. You can't see Wi-Fi in the room with you, right? Well, it's the same kind of
Right.
thing. If you have, it's just a frequency that's beyond our visible spectrum, our human vision. We can't see it. Doesn't mean it's not there.
Oh yeah, we're swimming in it, man. We're saturated in all kinds of signals. And I would imagine like some people are talking about this Ahrimanic spirit of like Rudolf Steiner, and that he's like the
Steiner.
counterpart of Lucifer. So you're probably familiar. But they're saying that this Wi-Fi environment is giving like Ahriman a really strong presence in this material sphere. So I think that's
Yeah,
somehow interesting. It looks like we have another guest backstage, the King of
I did
Hell.
hear that. I heard that it's given him a boner. Basically, it's like sexual energy, the frequencies, the Wi-Fi and 5G.
Yeah, what do you think of that? Do you have some opinions on that?
Well, it could be used by spirits as sexual energy to get turned on. I don't know. Like, I don't know if it was just me, but when I was younger, a lot of times I'd wake up with morning wood or I'd just pop a boner. Because that's hormonal with the material physical body, but with spirits, it's energy system. It's like a it's our energy that they feed off of, so they could literally get turned on and pop a boner over certain forms of energy fed to them.
Right. Yeah, here's a weird rabbit hole I went down recently on YouTube. Like, because I was just on a 10-day vacation. In fact, this is my last day of vacation. Tomorrow I go back to work. But some of you guys might know that I work at a high school. I'm a high school teacher. I work in an academy, a bilingual academy. But anyway, I was on a 10-day vacation, so I was chilling at home a lot and like listening to a lot of YouTube. But I went down all these rabbit holes, and there's so much terminology in the modern vernacular of kids these days. Like I don't even know what's going on half the time. Like I I didn't even know what was going on. Like you guys know that I've been in China for over 20 years, 20 plus years now. So I'm
Yeah,
kind of out, I'm out of touch with like the local Western culture, except for on the
I'm
internet.
out of touch.
I try to
I'm
learn about
out
it,
of touch.
but like, I
That
didn't
old
even know what
song.
yeah, I didn't know what YOLO was. Like someone 10
YOLO,
years ago.
you only live once.
Right. Yeah, like 10 years ago someone taught me that. So
Oh, okay.
you could see how out of touch I am. But like I just learned about an ARG yesterday, an
Oh,
alternate reality
ARG.
game. ARG,
Oh,
alternate reality game.
oh, okay.
And I was going down these YouTube rabbit holes, like these videos called like the darkest videos on YouTube and stuff like this. And it turns out there's a term called CP. I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, but I noticed these guys like bleeped out all kinds of words that they don't want to use on YouTube. Like they couldn't say suicide. Is suicide a trigger word, or are we like not allowed
Yeah,
to?
I
Are
try
we?
not to say it too much because
We're not allowed to say that word on
YouTube
YouTube. Is
doesn't
that
like
right?
it. They don't like it. But
Okay.
who's
Yeah.
this
So
King of Hell 66 guy? He
I don't
jumped
know. Let's
on.
walk. let's welcome him to the chat. King of Hell, welcome, greetings and salutations. I can't read the fine print under his name. Can anybody tell me what that says?
It's founder of Gay Hell, Satan's Throne.
Okay. Oh wow, he dipped out.
Oh shit!
Devices. It
I
says
scared him
devices
off.
not connected. Must
Fuck.
have. Yeah. No. Maybe he'll be
Damn.
back. Maybe he'll
I
be
don't know.
back.
He might have been into the gay Crowley sects or something.
Okay. So
I don't know.
maybe he got stimulated because we were talking about a little bit of buccaneering of the
His
old buck
hands might be
pirates.
busy right now. His hands might be a blur.
he's an anal buzzard lurking, ready for action.
Oh damn!
Yeah,
Damn!
not a big
Never
deal.
go
Maybe he'll
full
come back.
Crowley. You ever heard
Yeah,
that saying? Never go full retard. Well, never go full Crowley.
right. I
You
agree.
don't want to end up dying the way Crowley did, like broke and a drug addict, and full of STDs, and probably every rumor is most likely true or some truth to it. Maybe
Yeah.
not fully true, but there's a lot of truth, and he was
So again,
wrecked.
like,
You know.
yeah. They're oh, he's back. We'll let him join here in a second. Let me finish my. I had a question I wanted to present to the group, or what's almost becoming a panel, right? So I had stumbled across in my explorations on YouTube recently. I'd stumbled across something called BOI, or blood over intent, and I had never heard of it before. But it's basic.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
have you heard of
I
it? It's
did.
basic
Yeah, about
magical
10 years
script.
ago. Yeah, there used
Oh,
to be
okay.
videos about people drawing the blood and putting it on paper, writing out their intentions.
Right. So
Yeah,
you've heard of this. And
yeah.
when I started to look into it a little bit more, it seemed like it was mostly a PDF file type gang that's trying to like lure young people in so that they can get them to do videos to their fetishes. It didn't really seem like they were very much interested in actually
Oh, I don't know if it morphed
promoting.
into that, but I saw videos long ago, like around 9, 10 years ago, and it wasn't like that. It was weird, but it wasn't like it didn't seem to involve that like a
Oh,
decade
okay.
ago. But I think
Yeah.
that's when it came out.
And I just discovered that term too. They say PDF file instead of the other word.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh,
So the
welcome
kids
to
these
King of
days, they,
Hell. Can you hear us this time? Are you here?
yeah, King of Hell, welcome, greetings and salutations. Even unto thee who art the King of Hell, even unto thee who art founder of hell, Satan's throne, Satan's throne directly.
Some of them
Your
call him Shitan, and I always hear Shit-tan, like
Shaitan,
Shit.
yeah, Shaitan. I think
When
that's the
people
Hebrew
say Shit-tan,
pronunciation.
it kind of comes across that way. And I'm just like, I don't know if they're mocking, worshiping. It's hard to tell sometimes.
Right. So, King of Hell, your microphone is muted. Yeah, there you are. Yeah.
Oh,
Greetings and
it's a
salutations.
crash.
Sounds
It's a
like he was
crash.
popping bottles.
Hello.
Hello. What's going on?
Hey, Stefan, why don't you call me when you have some class?
It's Steven. It's not Stefan, but what call you? What are you talking about? Have some class.
I'm sorry, I thought you... Aren't you gay?
No, I'm not gay at all. Are you gay? You're not a dick sucker,
I
are you?
thought your name was Stefan.
No, you got to learn how to read. Steven,
It's Stephen, yeah. The
named
pH
after
is
the saint, the first saint,
the
Saint
pH is
Stephen.
the pH is silent.
So, have you ever heard of the Philadelphia Phillies?
Philadelphia Phillies is that a gay
Yeah, do
club
they
you're
have that
talking
in the
about?
LGBT community there?
They do.
What?
There's a famous bar in Philadelphia called the Brass Lantern,
Yo,
and
Stefan,
guys,
have you ever heard of the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania?
You
You
sound
ever heard of
gay. Are
that?
you from Philadelphia? Are you a little tiny guy? Your
guys
voice
go
sounds
in
like you're a little tiny guy.
guys go in there
Tom?
in
Is
leather
that you,
chap,
Tom? Tom, is that you? Tom S?
What?
Is your name
assless
Tom?
leather chaps. No,
Tom?
that's
What
not
is he
Tom.
talking?
God
Is that
Wait,
is
so
that
have you
God
Tom?
ever heard of Philadelphia?
God rest
Is
his
that
soul.
Tom?
So, like,
TOM space S.
Philadelphia is spelled
There's a little guy from Philadelphia.
PHIL.
Are you 5'2"?
No. I'm not.
Oh no,
To be honest with you, I probably could kill you. To be
you're
honest with
not
you.
some small little guy. You couldn't kill anybody. Come on, don't talk stupid.
Yeah,
Don't
don't
talk
talk shit.
stupid.
Let's keep it polite. Um,
No,
Don't
I'm
drop
King
your
being
bottle
serious.
cap.
I'm not. I'm not.
King of Hell, are you hailing in from Philadelphia? I
He's a
think that's
fag.
he's
Yeah,
trying to point
I'm
he's
close to
trying to point out
Philadelphia.
the PH in Stephen is silent.
Yeah, that's a bit weird there because Philadelphia is spelled P A. It's not
Yeah,
like F.
the spelling's a little queer, but I think it's a little more old school. Like
A
you've
little
probably
queer.
seen the name Jeff spelled Geoff, right? Like Geoffrey Chaucer.
Nah, I don't know. Nah, I don't know. But
We got to familiarize ourselves with multiple pronunciation models. So welcome. We have two kings in the house.
He's not a king
Kings,
though.
well, Steven, I
kings.
didn't know if you could tell you're a boy or a girl because your stomach's protruding over your private part, so you probably haven't seen that part in years.
What are you talking about? You're a fag? Is that what you're saying?
No, you're overweight and out of
Are you
shape.
a
I
fag?
could tell by looking at your face.
Are
Keep
you
it
a fag?
keep it civil, guys. I'm gonna make myself a cup of coffee. You guys hash it out.
Okay, he's a fag.
But I'll be here. I can hear the
Oh
show. I
man,
just can't
He's
speak.
one of these little tiny guys trying to use a tough sounding name, and it's like you're not. You're just a fag. You're a loser.
is that with a
You're gonna get
PH or an F?
you're gonna get sealed in here. Stupid. You're stupid. You're low
Wait, is
IQ.
it fag with PH or FH?
You're low IQ.
PH or FH or F?
You're low IQ.
Okay, so if you're fat, how could you be smart? You
What's your
don't.
IQ? What's your IQ? It's
What's
less
your
than a
weight?
shoe
When you
size.
step on a scale, what are the numbers on that?
Why do you have a lisp? You have oh, you're gross. You're fucking.
Look,
I'm just saying, like,
Ugh. I don't want to be around this
when you,
filthy
but
demon. I'm gonna
wait,
go
you
back to my
notice how
show.
he never
You can hang
answers
out
that
with this
question.
loser.
If
You can
someone were
hang
to
out with this
ask me, what
filthy
are the
demon.
numbers on the
Bye,
scale
demon.
when you
Bye, bye,
step on
demon.
them?
Bye, bye,
I would
demon.
just answer it. The answer is
You're answer it.
178,
Answer it. You got a list.
183.
Answer it. Answer it. You're a pissant with a
Answer
list.
it. Answer it.
Answer it. You're a
Answer it.
pissant with a list. Answer.
Answer it.
You're a pissant with a lisp.
don't worry, don't worry. Wait a minute. Wait
You're
a
gonna be
minute. Wait a
sealed
minute.
in
So
Wait
here,
a
wait,
minute.
bitch.
so
Wait
what
a
are the
You're gonna be
minute.
numbers?
sealed in here.
What's the
The
number?
fuck, guys?
Three
Answer.
fifty.
You're gonna be sealed
Let
in here.
let me
Bye bye.
interject for just a moment, right?
Bye
Stephen has great power in an incantation. He says you're a demon, right?
I'm
You're
a
able. He's
demon.
able. No. He's able to cast out demons. So let's keep it civil, guys. Try to banter back and forth, and you guys were asking, "Are you gay? Are you gay?" I'm especially gay right now because there are three people in the room, so I'm experiencing extreme gaiety. Very, very, very gay
Facts.
right now.
Facts. I agree with that. Steven, what about you? Stefan or Steven? All right, that's it. That's it for him.
Well, I think the correct pronunciation should be Stefan.
Oh man,
Stefan.
I really pissed him off, huh?
King Stefan. I don't know. Maybe he had technical difficulties. He might be
He'll
back.
be back. He'll be back. He's gonna go get the PH figured out in his name.
No, he's gonna go get
And
Team
then,
Evil. He's gonna get
oh my god.
Team Evil to cancel us.
Yeah, man. Like I said, listen, I can't do. I'm fucking crazy. I don't know. Shout
No
out to
worries.
Frank Monday. God bless everybody on here.
Yeah,
Shout out to the fam.
Freighter Francis, Jersey Devil. How the hell are you, man? What's been
I'm
going
good,
on?
man. I'm fucking drinking a beer because I'm on
Are
live.
you nice?
That's it.
It should be. Let me check. I'm trying to figure out what time it is in your time zone. It's about 9 or so Eastern Standard.
Yep. 9:30 p.m. Yep. In
Had you heard
Philadelphia.
in Philly? Yeah, Philadelphia with King Stefan. Um,
Yeah, man.
do you know the Insanity Machine and Team Evil? Have you ever checked out his page?
Yeah, I have, and it's funny because basically, like almost like your whole. Oh my god. I have 71,717 miles on my car. Anyway.
That's not bad.
Oh yeah, it's pretty good, dude. Kidding me? It's a Toyota. But you know what?
Yeah.
It's been misfiring. Like
Has it?
I put like gas in it and it like shuts off, misfires. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Anyway, something's going on with the fuel tank or some shit. Anyway, the whole thing was like he's like a Gnostic. Like he steals the ideas of the Gnostics or whatever. I mean, people debate whether those ideas of Yaldabaoth, basically the idea of God being
The
actually Satan.
demiurge.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
creator of humans, it's hard for people to understand if you don't know what I'm talking about, but
Right.
basically this guy
I've
is
only I've only
fucking,
looked into it a little bit. Tell me what you know.
well, no, the demiurge is just the creators of human. It's not necessarily, so he is our creator, but he's not the highest God that there is. He's pretending to be that, which is the whole idea of Yaldabaoth or the demiurge, right? So there is another God that we have the divine source from that God, or the divine spark rather. Like, you know, that gift of life didn't come from Yaldabaoth, because Yaldabaoth got that divine spark from someone else. Does that make sense? I don't know if that really resonates with
Oh
anyone,
yeah,
whatever.
absolutely. And
That's the idea
I
of
personally have
Gnosticism.
experienced that. Yeah.
And so some people don't know, but Gnosticism was recently discovered in 1945 in Egypt. They discovered the Nagahami or Naga something library, and they discovered the Gnostic texts where Jesus talks about this. And so basically, we don't know if, pretty much the Egyptians were privy to this information and they valued it, which is why they preserved it in historical context, things like that. So anyway,
Okay.
this guy is basically stealing this idea or whatever, borrowing it or recreating it or expanding on it, expounding on the idea of Gnosticism. And
As he likes to
um,
say, regurgitating.
yeah, I'm not too sure what he believes. But anyway, my name is basically a play on that whole idea because, we're basically in hell. Like, there's multi-level things. And then Frank, I remember you being like, I don't really get the whole idea of saying we're in hell, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah,
The
that's why I'm the
hell
fucking,
realm.
yeah, that's why I'm like, I'm the king of hell. Like, there's a humorous, satirical twist on that idea. So
Oh yeah, I get it. I get it. Definitely.
yeah, man, did you release the altar video?
I haven't yet, man. I've
The
been working on
second
it, but
part?
I wanted to refine it a little more, and I thought I was going to do it over the vacation, but I don't know if you're anything like me, man. On vacation, I like go into vacation mode, and I didn't do shit this whole vacation, man. I had a 10-day holiday. This is my last day.
And what is that for? Is that before the school year or?
No, this is a specific one to China. We have 3 what are called golden weeks. So out of the year, there are 3 week-long vacations that are just specific to China. This one was for
Like
the
spring
national,
break, fall break, shit like that.
something similar, but we also have a summer and winter holiday for school. But this one is specific to
Oh,
all of Chinese laborers and stuff. They're supposed to have a week-long holiday
okay.
for October 1st. October 1st is their 4th of July. It's their national holiday.
Mm,
Yeah,
let's
so from
speak on that. Let's speak on that because there's energy there. And that
yeah,
other
yeah.
guy, he was talking about vampirism. He has no idea about vampirism. Anyone who listens to him. I'm not saying I'm an expert in that subject, but I have delved deep into that area and I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I mean, of course, there's a correlation between vampiric work and sexual energy, but what the fuck he was saying, I don't know what he's talking about. That's some sort of, I think you were hinting at that, Frank, some sort of kink or he's projecting there. I don't know what he's doing there. That's something weird.
What the guys who embody that kind of Gnostic teaching and are trying to bring it forward like we're in a hell realm and it's ultimately pointless and stuff like that. To me, it just feels it stinks of nihilism, and it just feels dirty. Like whenever I get involved with it, it just makes me feel like I've been laying in the fucking sewer for a week or something. For me personally, it's not the type of spiritual cultivation that I'm interested in.
Yeah, it's sort of like a new age thing. Pretty, that's how I describe it. The
Yeah,
whole and you
and
know what, Frank? I'm
you
gonna
can
say
go
this.
down that
You
that
might
rabbit
be a
hole.
little out of touch with this part of the esoteric community because it's so new. And the people
Right.
that embody this sort of thing, they're 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13 years old. Kind of out of your realm, even close out of my realm, but of course there's people that are older and but so anyway, you have this back to what you're talking, like I'm trying to connect like this point of like this new age idea and thought, this wave of thought and ideas. And there's these there's a whole uh, it's very hard to explain it. There's a whole energy current behind it where there's a certain look, a certain
Right.
fetish, a certain this, you know what I mean? Where and now to get a little more specific, that it's almost like new age punk. I
Yeah.
I'm not explaining it, but where it's like more tattoos, more weird piercings on your face, on your nipples, weird ideas about sex and this and but you know what I'm saying? Like we're kind of, and then it's mixing that punk vibe with new age technology. Like I'm describing the age of Horus here. The Aeon of Horus is what I'm pretty much describing here.
Sure.
And it's very interesting. And this idea that we're in hell or like this dark energy is shrouding behind this new wave of ideas. I really think so. And it's something to watch for because it's mainstream. It's like the hippie movement. There is, I don't know how you feel about that, but there might be more
Yeah,
than
I'm fine with the hippies. They weren't my generation either.
there. I'm fine with the hippies, but there definitely was like the government, like it was a government psyop. You know what I'm saying? I forget who it was, but his dad was like a CIA agent. I forget who it was, the famous musician.
Doors.
Yeah, man. And I'm just like, man, like, Charles Manson, that whole thing,
Right.
mind control. I mean, mind control is very, very, very fucking real. And as we go on more into the phones and shit and the drugs and shit and the technology and the constant imagery and stuff,
Well,
it's
all of
it's
a lot of these movements start with like a single guy researching it, right? And they're kind of a grassroots movement, but then they get co-opted by the intelligence agency and become a type of mind control, like a psyop. So any great movement is going to experience that, like chaos magic. I wasn't even aware of chaos magic in the 90s, but I was practicing it because I was a part of the 23rd current, like
Mhm.
Church of the Subgenius and this kind of thing, Robert Anton Wilson, Dr. Bob. But they get usurped, right? Like the whole hippie movement, they got usurped by like Timothy Leary and Alan Watts and these guys who are all working for intelligentsia. And one persistent thing about them is they all turn out to be like super gay. I don't know why. I don't know why that has to be
Mhm.
like an aspect of their thing, but they've been trying to bring homosexuality into the
Oh
mainstream
my
for a
God.
long, long time.
So listen, I'm gonna add on to that point real quick. Are you familiar with Vice magazine?
Um,
Vice,
Not really,
Viceland.
but I have heard of it. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so so the guy who invented the Proud Boys was the founder of Vice originally. And what happened was he gets taken out of position. He gets bought out by his partner, who's a sales guy. He's about the money. He's about the money. He's researching. He goes, "Where's the money?" He goes, "It's in
Right.
the pink dollar." meaning women. He goes, what are women into? Liberalism, LGBTQ, this whole punk rock music the whole esoteric idea I was referring to before. To add on
Right.
top of that, I was working yesterday, and these people really don't know what I be doing behind the scenes, right? I don't really fit that stereotype at all. They probably think
Yeah,
I'm a fucking Christian
they've
in the
I
church.
they've identified that the largest consumer market is the teenage girls 12 to 24, that
Mm-hmm.
they buy everything. So if you want to make money like at the, the low hanging fruit, then that's what you gear your stuff towards.
Exactly. And that's and there's a spirit behind this. There's some sort, I'm not sure how to identify it yet, but obvious it might be an androgynous sort of thing going on here. Just to
Yeah,
backtrack a little bit,
if
I was
Steiner was right, then it's Ahriman.
maybe. It's very sick and twisted, whatever it is. It's very
Asmodeus.
yes. Yeah. So I was working yesterday, and this guy, he's gay, clearly gay. There's a big gay scene where I work at. I stay, not big, but you get what I'm saying. They're there. I work in the restaurant industry. Anytime you work in the restaurant industry, you are going to find these sort of people. Anyway, this guy pulls out a sigil. No one knows what it is. It's around his neck, and it's like an amulet. Thankfully, I didn't get a clear view of it, so it's not in my subconscious mind or anything. It's not lurking around in my subconscious mind. But my whole
Right.
point is this whole esoteric witchcraft that you're going, it's the sheep. The sheep are going down that way. Now it's time to make a left. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now it's time to make a left. And so there's something's going on. And, this guy, people like King Stephen, in my opinion, everything we've touched on, he fits this description perfectly. Granted, he's a little older. He's a white guy, but he screams fucking Canadian liberal, LGBTQ, all this shit, equal rights. Listen,
Oh yeah, he oozes it, and I think he's trying to like throw some subterfuge my way by trying to pull out like a homophobic energy in me. Like, oh, I'm exposing this guy as being a homophobe, right? Which is not true at all. I'm not scared of fags. I mean, and I wouldn't even call them fags. Homosexuals or gay people, whatever. They've established their rights, and but I do reiterate that I grew up in a more traditional society, and that type of thing is not my game, and I feel like butt sex is dirty. But again, go ahead, continue with your idea.
exactly, man, exactly. And, you could clearly see there's this sort of spiritual connection between, you know, it's all imagery, and I'm going to reel you back in here. It's the same reason why when you air a commercial for beer you can't even air commercial for cigarettes anymore. You can't. You can't do it. Why? Because of the power of the mind, the power of advertisement, of imagery, of symbology is powerful, and it controls us as a society. These are these are um these are ideas that people like Donald Trump are implementing into his business when he establishes one of the largest towers in New York City and names it the Trump Tower. This is the type of shit we're talking about. And
Right.
so when you put these ideas and you align these imagery with this type of energy, for example, Donald Trump being red, Kamala Harris being, you know, we're going into a very weird direction. I don't know where it's going. And at the same time, like I said before, we're adding the AI, which is really the epitome of the Aeon of Horus. This new technology, this sort of cyborg, punk rock, Matrix, or other movies that represent this post-apocalyptic, which is a
Right.
metaphor. We're not really gonna go there, but it's gonna metaphorically happen. You feel me? So that's
Yeah.
my idea behind this.
Well, and then I'll add to that. So, what is the position of the magician in all of this? And I would say that it's
Mm,
breaking the chains that bind you. Like any of these things, any of these devious pathways, these byways that you've talked about, they're self limiting behaviors, I believe, to some extent. And that the practice of it doesn't have to be ceremonial magic, it doesn't have to be chaos magic, it doesn't have to be in any way you talk about it. Those are all just different expressions of the same thing, but you connect with divine source and you break the chains of karma, you break the chains of the astrology, you break the chains of, material science, and you break the chains of religion as well. I mean, if anything, magic to me represents liberation of the individual soul, but to an extent that you realize that being the more and more selfish you become, the more and more selfless you become. So it's an understanding of this great conundrum that we live in.
mm,
I mean, we manifest between heaven and earth, right? And so we have these polar opposites that try to pull us to either extreme. And the middle path of the magician is walking between the pillars of Boaz and Joaquin, right? Straight up the middle to the source by yourself, not someone else leading you along saying, here, kitty, kitty, here, kitty, kitty. No, you just walk there yourself and experience the revelation of the Godhead. And if it doesn't kill you, then you come back and try to share that pathway with other people. It's a form of spiritual cultivation for me, right? But that also leads to physical and mental cultivation. This division of thirds, this great trinity, the triangulation of the father Dagon, the mother Hydra, and then the divine child, which is you and me and every living person, right? Cthulhu has risen. And so it's a literary experience. It's a fun thing to do. And yeah, you have to kind of filter out some of the shit that kind of makes it drudgery. It just can't be fucking, brass tacks and nose to the grindstone every day without a little bit of entertainment and fun. But at the same time, you don't want to go so far that you're cutting off your penis and, jamming spikes through your head. I mean, that's just, don't go to extremes. I think
yeah,
that's the
man.
key.
It's a psychological warfare out there, to say the least. And
You probably remember Jim Rhodes' Circus of Freaks or whatever, Jim Rhodes' Freak Show. Do you remember that?
mm-mm.
Did you ever see that?
It sounds familiar, but I can't really. I don't know
So
what
it's
that is.
basically like this carnival freak show in the 90s, and the guy would like come out on stage and put his penis on a cinder block and like slam it with a sledgehammer and like jam needles through his head and shit. And he had like an entire freak show of people that would tour as like a carnival, the Jim Rhodes Circus, something like that. But it's like, good God, I mean, yeah, that's one way to achieve enlightenment. You could set your penis on a butcher's block and slam it with a sledgehammer, but I mean, do you need to go that far in order to, you know, deviate so far from the norm that you awaken the spiritual energy within you? It just seems too extreme to me.
I just, you gotta be careful. And everything you said it perfectly. I can't really say anything much more about it without being redundant.
Well,
But
let's talk about the here and now, like the spiritual. You're on October 7th right now, right? Is that correct?
yeah, man, yeah.
Yeah, that's when Randolph Carter used the ritual of the silver key to go through the snake's den. So, what that means, I think, at a spiritual level, is that this time of year, the veil, they say, is extremely thin. So, have you had any spooky encounters, or is anything
No,
weird going on?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I received. I don't know how to explain it, but it was like a not a breakthrough, but I set out two goals, and in the same week, in the beginning of October, I accomplished them.
Okay,
Back to
yeah.
back
One
days.
was one was nailing down a job, right? So you found a new job.
I found a new job. Therefore, I get to quit my other two jobs that I have that I hate. And not hate, but I'm just over it.
Yeah,
And
good magic.
um, I was fostering this dog. I told people
Right,
about it, and
right.
this one guy was like, I don't know what he was saying. he was like, "Why are you asking?" Or why are you asking? Or he was saying like, I don't know. He
So he
didn't like
wanted
the
the dog.
fact. He didn't like the fact that I was gonna say that I was willing to kill the dog, which I was.
Oh yeah, I remember
Um,
that.
which was part satirical because my father would say shit like that when we had
Right.
dogs. He's funny. Oh my god. So yeah, we fostered this dog and we finally found him a home. And not only did we find him a home, but it's a better situation for the dog, you know. And it was just a beautiful thing. Because the
Yeah.
dog won, we won, everybody won.
Yeah, good magic. A lot of
And
the best magic happens when you meet new people and you cultivate new relationships and you approach things with like openness and fellowship. I think that's one of the best factors about being a magician is achieving those things that are, they're important. Like finding a good home for the dog, that's a super important thing.
yeah,
What
man,
about the
and
new
meeting
job?
those.
What are some of the characters? Yeah, what are some of the characters involved that you've crossed paths with recently?
It's just crazy because, like, if anyone's ever out there fostered a dog, and
I have,
probably
yeah.
the type of situation I was in, they probably never was in that type of situation. But
Right.
at the same time, there's many people that are in this type of situation. Um, but yeah, it's a very spiritual experience, kind of, because you like the dog is in a better place, kind of, but he's like away from you, type of thing. So it's like weird. But yeah,
And
it's
even when you have him, like the dog's a little servitor, his life is entirely connected to yours. You
oh,
got to
he's
feed
so
him, you got to
annoying.
house him.
It's so annoying, but then when you get rid of him, you miss him. So it's kind of like this weird experience. It's like there's a whole lesson behind it. And
Absolutely. Yeah, I've
so
raised
yeah,
animals. I know.
it was cool, man. It was cool because I could
Like
have killed the dog, but I didn't. So I think I received like blessings for that, kind of, because
like
there is a
at the start of the magical challenge last autumn, like a year ago to the date, I had summoned what I thought was a fire elemental, and it turned out as a salamander, right? An axolotl, a little lizard fish. You remember that?
yeah.
Yeah, and I've still got that little lizard fish, and it's probably one of the easiest animals to take care of. Like, but even that, like if I got to go on a long vacation, 10 days or something, I had to buy a little, I had to buy a little timer feeder that'll turn like the filter on for an hour each day, and will drop food in his tank, and it can go for 14 days. So I got it set up. It's automatic now. Like I can take care of him I can be gone for 14 days without the fish getting sick. So pretty cool.
That's crazy. I never. It's funny because now I wanna buy like another animal similar to like a lizard or some shit like that. Something like
Yeah,
in a cage.
set it up so it's semi-automated, because taking care of something daily is kind of like you said, it's kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, man. Especially a dog. Like, not that I didn't want the dog was a good dog. That's why I didn't want to kill it. Um, So the dog was fine. It's just taking care of something that wasn't even mine, and then it's like I'm stuck with it. But we found it a home. I had a dream that it returned, but it was just a dream, just a weird dream. And
Well, no, 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 man, don't take that weird dream too lightly. That was the dog's spirit returning to visit you on the astral realm. So he was paying you a
it
little
was
visit.
funny because it it could have. I don't know if this ever happened to you, but like
They're
for
pretty
example,
they're pretty powerful astral travelers, dogs, animals
it
in general.
was it was it. It's hard to explain. It was supposed to be. I had two dogs in the past, right? For example, where I had this dog named Bronx, and it was supposed to be Bronx, but we were talking about Ralph. But where the dog was in the crate in the house that it was supposed to be this dog Bronx, but we were talking about Ralph. I don't know if that's ever happened to you where you're supposed to be in your old school, but it's not really your old school. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like it's
oh
another
yeah, yeah, yeah.
place, but
If
in your
yeah, if
mind
you
you're referring to it as your old school. So it
yeah, yeah.
was, yeah.
If you read some of the literature on the astral realm and like the dreaming mind and stuff, um, a lot of things will appear incongruent or backwards. Like when you try to read things, if you read script in the on the astral realm, it'll appear as a reflection. So it'll be like, so if you see a number, if it's like 321, it's actually 123. You're reading it
Yeah,
backwards.
I remember you saying something about that.
Yeah, yeah. So like misassociating your dog with like Ralph and all those things, it's because their spiritual energy, their astral vehicles are very, very similar. And if you're the dog you just got rid of, right, he's in a new home, immediately he's going to be seeking to go back to his last dwelling because dogs don't use linguistic ideation, they don't use symbology. So everything they encode through their mind and spirit is based on memory patterns, and they constantly reevaluate those memory patterns, right? Like a dog's taking a little nap, you think he's just chilling. No, man, he's astral traveling. He's going back like to his birth and all the way up through his life and experiencing, reliving through all the things he does. So dogs, animals in general, they have this tendency to be a little more powerful on the astral plane than most people are.
That's fucking dope. That makes sense. Like, yeah, that could have been. It's a funny experience, man. It really is.
Yeah, that's why I like
And
dogs, cats, and people who keep a pet. They can detect like spiritual beings. A moment ago, you were talking about spiritual beings, possessing people and influencing people. Like it's classical knowledge that a dog and a cat, they can see it immediately. You'll see their head perk up, their ears perk up, they'll start barking at it or whatever. Or the cat will, the cats can be powerful magicians, and they'll fuck with it. And, cats will do vampiric shit. You've heard about them sitting on top of babies while they're sleeping to smell the milk and steal their breath and stuff like that.
that's hilarious. Not, no, heard of that. My cat, man, it's funny, man. You really can form like bonds with these animals. For me, I feel like I don't know, I have like I don't know, but
Oh
like I
yeah,
like animals.
sympathetic and telepathic bonds, absolutely.
Yeah, I interviewed someone who like works in this like very big animal rescue slash zoo slash like rescue zoo. It's called the Popcorn Zoo, and it's in New Jersey. If anyone's ever heard of it, it's like near the shore area. Um, but yeah, man, there's a lot of things going on in New Jersey right now. Like we got MLB playoffs. If anyone cares about that, it's like really big deal here. And the Phillies are like the number one seed, and they're like, I don't know, versing their fucking the Mets, kind of like their rivals or whatever.
Did you say MLB or NBL?
Major League Baseball.
Oh, okay, yeah, nice. Yeah, I was a baseball guy when I was a kid.
Yep, the Dodgers are in it. The Padres and the Dodgers are going at it right now. So there's a
Did
lot
you
of.
did you know the Dodgers and the Padres are the only baseball teams to ever have come to China?
No, I didn't know that. That makes sense though. I think there's like a lot of Asian people over in California. So
Yeah, the Japanese really embraced baseball, and a lot of the other ones that have a heavier American influence do play baseball. But baseball never took off in China. Like they don't do it over here. But
mm,
they did a promotional game right before the Olympics in 2008 here in Beijing, and they came over and they had just built a new baseball stadium because they've never had a baseball stadium in Beijing before, and they built it just specifically for the Olympics in Wukesung Stadium. And a guy who worked at the TV station here gave me two golden tickets to go watch the Dodgers play the Padres, and I was the only foreigner there, man. I mean, other than the baseball teams, but it was the most amazing thing, and that was summoned by my magic, man. Like I'd already been here for like 7 years, and I'm like, damn, I'd like to see a baseball game. And then the Padres and Dodgers show up and play for me, man. Isn't that amazing?
that's fucking amazing. I love baseball. I actually saw the Dodgers play this year against the Phillies.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really
Well,
like it.
When I was a kid, the Angels were my favorite team because it was still the Los Angeles
They
Angels.
suck now, man. They're so
Yeah, I
bad.
know. They were good in the 80s.
Yeah, man. I love baseball. I love sports. I was thinking,
Yeah, so
talking
you're an
about
East Coast guy. Well, I was actually in Boston when what are they the Red Sox, the White Sox?
Red
Who's the
Sox.
Boston team? The Red Sox. They broke their 100-year curse.
What's up with it? What is that?
They hadn't won a World Series in 100 years, and they broke it at like the 99th year or something, and they won the World
Yeah, like in
Series.
2008 or so.
Yeah, I got invited over to watch that game too. That was a friend who went to the Berkeley School of Music,
That's
and
fire, dude. Baseball. I love baseball. My friend went to. It's called the NLDS, the National League Divisional Series game for the
okay,
Phillies versus the Mets, and the Phillies walked it off 7-6. They won the game with a walk-off triple or something. So it was like an amazing game.
the Mets are Jersey, right?
The Mets are New York, but they play in
Oh, they
Citi
are New York.
Field, which is in New Jersey, I believe.
So New York has two teams.
The Mets, the Yankees, yeah. I think
The
that's it.
Mets and the Yankees,
Yeah,
and then
just like the
that whole
Jets,
area, they got quite a few
Giants.
teams, right? They got the Mets, the Yankees, the
Just like the
Sox,
Jets and the Giants, and then for basketball, they got the Brooklyn Nets and the New York Knicks,
and the
uh,
Boston
Boston Celtics,
Celtics. Yeah,
Boston Celtics.
yeah, because
They're
all those hoods are really close to each other, if I remember correctly. Like I said,
yeah, they're fairly close.
I lived in Boston for 2 years.
Boston's a little far away, kind of.
It's a couple hour drive, right?
Yeah, yeah, but I was gonna say,
But it's like LA to San Diego for me. Like growing up on the West Coast, it wasn't any big deal to
yeah,
drive LA
it's
to San
kind of
Diego.
hard to drive up north. I don't know about Massachusetts or anything, but
Oh,
when you
okay.
drive through New Jersey to New York, it's like a nightmare. It's not the same. Like if you were to go to the same distance south rather than North Jersey, it's
It's way easier.
completely different drive.
Yeah.
Um, I was gonna say, I recently so I got this new job, and I recently had an interview for this job.
Yeah.
Now, I was doing a bunch of interviews, but they were like over the phone or like on Zoom. Oh my God, Frank, I wanted to ask you. I'm going to cut everything off I just said. I need to ask you about this. Have you
Okay.
ever heard of Devil Corps?
No, I haven't.
Like Devil Corps, like Devil
Sure.
Corporations,
No, I haven't.
where they're kind of like they will. There's a whole documentary on it on YouTube. It's like a whole thing, but
Okay. I'll check it out.
they'll pose as like advertising companies or something, but it's really like an MLM or like door-to-door sale or like something very weird.
Oh, okay.
So like I was trying to avoid them. I did like a few interviews for these type of companies because they're like hard to spot sometimes. Anyway, so I did this one interview, and it was like my first interview where it was like in person. I've done plenty of like in-person interviews, but like for this type of job I haven't. And so anyway, I do it, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go into more detail about this story because I think it's relevant. So I know this guy, he runs this Discord. He like gathers people from TikTok live and has this class where he teaches this thing. He makes a bunch of different shit up. It's a cover up so he can just feed off people's energy and get their money. That's my opinion of it. Anyway, I sort of I guess you could say I siphon off this energy pit sometimes. Like I'm really not doing anything to do it, but like I just sit there and listen because he'll go into the Discord lounge and talk and gather or whatever. So before the interview, I was listening to it and I was like, I'm about to kill this interview. And I go in and I absolutely kill this fucking interview. And he basically gives me the job on the spot, but there's two interviews, so I interview and then he's like talking. He's like, come back, blah, 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 come back. And then he gives me the job. but it was like already kind of given to me kind of thing. And I just think there's this connection between, because I've never done an in-person. Okay, I take that back. After I turned like after I turned 21, 22, I always fucking murdered an interview. I would murder them. Like, I don't know what I would do, but I would like hypnotize these fucking people and they like love me. Not love me, but they want to hire me. And I'm not saying these jobs, and granted, these jobs I have, they're like fucking anyone can get them essentially, but like it's an interview and it's like this person who's at like a high level, you're communicating with them and shit. So yeah, man, I just fucking killed this interview and I was like, man, there's like this like some sort of correlation between like vampirism and like me doing this. Like I'm doing something, but I'm not sure what it is. And I eat, and it's
Right.
like little things. Like I do little things. Like he was on the phone because he was like, there was like this emergency kind of like he kind of fucked up and
Yeah.
deleted some files. Like he deleted like some data, like on the sales that they were doing. Not really fucking important, but to them it's important. Whatever. I mean, they have the money and shit physically, so it's there. Anyway, the numbers are there. And I saw his screensaver and it was a picture of Trump. And it's just the little things that I do. I'm like, oh, I saw your screensaver. I just recently coincidentally, I just read Trump's Art of the Deal, How to Get Richer, blah, blah, blah. And I'm talking to him
Okay.
about this, shit like that. So I don't know if you can relate to anything like that.
Oh yeah, sure. And Art of the Deal I thought was pretty good. I think I read it like I don't know whenever you wrote it, but fun stuff. Like that's kind of magical incantation too. Like he's got aphorisms or things that he invokes prior to doing something. Like he's about to walk in a room, and he'll think to himself, go big or go home. And these because he wrote them all throughout his book, all these different incantations that he used to get where he's at. And it's true. Like when you think about what you just said, that like you murdered the interview, and it's a job that anybody can get. Those are magical affirmations that you need to bolster your confidence. And I was listening to a little girl. Did you ever hear about the career of that girl named Danielle that was on the Phil Donahue show and said she was like a 13-year-old girl and she said, "Cash me outside. How about that?" Did you ever hear about that meme? So maybe a decade ago or something.
Yeah, Danielle Bergoli.
Okay. Like she manifested her entire success based on mental magic, right? Like chaos magic. Like once she figured out what was going on and she's like, "Oh, this simple incantation can open doors for me," right? She blew her career up. Obviously, she had some retrospection and she was like, she was abused and she got kind of jilted as a kid, but she made bank, man. She got her bag and walked.
Wait, who did she get abused by? Her
Her
boyfriend.
mom and her mom
Oh,
was really abusive towards her. And then when Dr. Phil sent her to that ranch, he sent her to like a ranch, like a rehabilitation ranch or whatever, and they were engaged in like high level child abuse there.
Jesus Christ. You know what's funny? There was a recent post that came out where her boyfriend beat the shit out of her. And she's like a little small white girl. And
Yeah,
he's
she
like a
was at the
big ass
time, yeah.
black dude.
Right.
And there was like photos of her like face swollen bad. Like, like real fucking bad. And
Yeah, that's like part of
yeah.
the culture that I entirely missed. Like I never saw any of that news. I didn't know about her. I saw the meme go through like the internet and stuff, but I had no idea what it was referencing.
Well,
But I
that was
watched
recent, the boyfriend
what
thing. So I'm just
oh, okay.
saying this
Yeah,
cycle
but
of abuse has continued and it probably will when she has children. I don't
yeah,
fucking know.
she's like in her 20s now though, I would guess. Like she made bank though, like her career like
Oh no,
exploded.
yeah, dude, she has
She,
OnlyFans and shit. Yeah.
yeah, her first year on OnlyFans, she made $50 million, and people doubted it. And she like disclosed her bank records and her IRS statements and stuff, and people were just fucking astounded. Like she made 50 million in her first year, and she got to keep 42 million after taxes. So, and she did that off
Yeah, I
of
think she's from Florida.
no, I think she's Jersey or Florida. You might be right. Yeah, but she's
Nah,
got
you
like a
might be right. I
Jersey.
don't know.
No, I think you're right. But she's got like a Jersey accent.
Kinda. I don't want to talk about her accent because we might say something
Oh,
bad,
okay, but
but
you're a Jersey guy, so you'd know better than me. But it sounded kind of Jersey-esque to me. But
yeah, there's
anyway,
a lot of girls that look
my
like her.
point being, like when you went in there and you thought to yourself, "Yeah, I fucking nailed that interview, right? I killed it." Um, that one type of thing, that one type of magical incantation, it's enough to make you 50 million if you're persistent and consistent with it. Like her cat, cash me outside. How about that? That made her 50 million in 1 year. I mean, it took another 5 years for her to get there, but she followed that one spark of the divine all the way to the bag,
You're
and it
right.
was it
She
and was
had
able to
like a moment, like a special moment.
exactly. Exactly. And she did it all based on chaos magic, man, in my opinion.
Maybe that's interesting. That is very true.
Just like that
Never-
video you sent me. That I think that one guy, that comic book writer, what was that guy's name again? That video you sent me
Alan
way
Moore.
back. Uh
Alan Moore.
okay, yeah, that video, man. It's an hour or 2 hour documentary or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's other versions of it that's like 10 minutes that you could watch.
oh, okay.
And with
He
that,
puts it into the most concise terms imaginable. Like it's just a perfect eloquent speech on what it's all about, really.
yeah, and then yeah, like him using the whole comic book thing.
Right.
It's
Well,
all a
that's
part
one
of what he
level.
does.
That's scripting. That's magical scripting. There's lots of different ways to do it. You don't have to use his method. I think the key is to come up with your own method and realize that all methods are the one method. But yeah, devise your own system. I've got my own system, obviously, and I like to talk about it. But I don't think it's going to work for everyone. I think it'll work for people who jive with it. Like that's why I grade on King Stefan a little bit because he thinks that he's got the master model that will serve all, and I don't think that's really possible. I think that everybody has to go through the work in order to get there. Like we say in China, we say do the work and the success is assured. You don't need to worry about success. Just get busy doing the work.
You know what's funny? This guy that I was referring to before, he says not to take pictures of your altar.
Right. Yeah, I was talking about that too. You're not supposed to let anybody see your
Eh,
altar or your magical tools and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe in that. I feel
Well,
like,
it's do you know the riddle of the Sphinx?
well, I don't, but let me finish
Yeah, go
this.
ahead, finish your idea.
I just want to say, just not to confuse anyone, I want to be specific here. Um, it's hard to explain. You could definitely have altars that are for people to see.
Yeah.
That's a fact. I've seen, you go into a 7-Eleven Hindi shop, they have an altar. I've
All yeah,
seen
all Chinese restaurants have one at the door as soon as you walk in.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I'm like, automatically, I go, I already know you're wrong. You're coming from a
Right.
place of fear, and
Right.
it's all bullshit. Okay, of course, you should probably have altars that no one should see except you, or blah, 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 blah. I
Sure.
get it. But go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, those are harkening back to the prohibitions of like the witch trials and the burnings and stuff. If someone saw your altar, you were going to get burned at the stake. We live in a different world. We can express ourselves a little more openly. Like now you can like legally be gay and get married to another man if you want. It's not like people are going to burn you at the stake for being a practitioner of magic. But I think part of the prohibition, I was going to tell you about the riddle of the Sphinx. It's in 5 parts, and I didn't know. I thought it was only 3 parts. But the basic Wiccan read taken from the riddle of the Sphinx is to know, to dare, and to be silent. So I thought that be silent part, right, that you keep your magic secret until it manifests. And then when it manifests, you can share it with other people and say, hey, I manifested this via magic. But I always thought that prohibition of keeping silence is why you don't let the profane look at your altar or your magical tools or your sigils or stuff like that. But I think part of the prohibition also is that you shouldn't cast your pearls before swine, or you shouldn't get people who don't know anything, like the profane masses. you shouldn't get them interested in things that don't really concern them. Like, you don't walk into a kindergarten and whip out your dick, you know? That's just
Mhm.
not, it's not appropriate, right?
Yeah, I
Um,
was gonna reference that as well with the swine, and I actually did know, like, I understood the to know to dare to be silent thing, and
like I almost always keep my amulet under my shirt. And even when I'm out in public or something and like I notice my gold chain has slipped out from my t-shirt or something and I'm showing my Star of David, I'll immediately tuck it back in because it's none of their fucking business. But when I'm sitting at home in my, my study or I'm at my dorm or whatever, I'm going to put on my robe and let my amulet hang out, and I think it's fine to transmit over the dark mirror, via the internet, YouTube, and be yourself. I think we live in an aeon when we can be a little more relaxed when we're interacting with spiritual counterparts and having fellowship and stuff like that. Like when I went to Poke Runyon's initiation ritual, everybody was in full ceremonial garb, and it's like we're not going to just wander out onto the boulevard like that. But when you're having like a special occasion, that's what you've been working towards. That's a time to celebrate. You're with people of a like mind and stuff like that.
yeah, it can. Yeah. People don't
So
realize, but
I'd say there's a
people
time and a place.
people have whole rooms in their house dedicated to a spirit. That's more like Santeria type practices or whatever. Really, it could
Right.
be any practice, but I'm just saying, for example, people have I've heard this one guy. I mean, there's pictures on YouTube. I've sent them in the Discord before. There's people with what are the triangle, like the crystal triangles? There's a word for it. And then
Or like
there's like these triangles
Oregon.
made of tin or not tin, maybe tin or copper. Things like
Okay.
this.
Like a
Things like
Faraday
this.
box,
Yes, things like this
Faraday
where they have
cage.
them. Yes, like they'll have like a copper pyramid, the size of like a futon almost or a
Right. And they
couch.
could sit in it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, things like this. So, that I don't know. It's just
Yeah. I think various tools and methods like that could be of aid to someone who needs them. But again, like when we get down to the chaotic nature of it all, like you create the etheric counterparts, and the only thing you should really need is yourself, your inner temple. So when you've built your when you've built your astral temple, then you can just close your eyes and retire from the world and do all ritual work just from like inner meditation, internal visualization.
mhm.
But again, I think you could do both. You can build the external counterparts if you like. You can work on developing the internal ones. You can do it with or without those things. The magical paths are so diverse that I think it's up to each individual practitioner to decide what they take and what they leave aside. And some tools will serve you in the autumn. Some will serve you in the summer, the winter, right? There are different seasons in life. So again, like I said a moment ago, I think there's a time and a place for everything.
Yeah, I also wanted to say that sometimes people will have made a pact with the spirit, and then therefore they will have a room in their house dedicated to the said spirit. There's a comedian named Joey Diaz who talks about this openly. I think he
Okay,
has a room for Ogun or Alegua. He's like Santeria guy, but
okay. Recently,
it's
do you know Styx Hexenhammer 666?
nah. What is that?
He's he's a political commentator here on YouTube. His channel name is called Styx Hexenhammer 666. Anyway, he recently came out and said that he made a pact with a demon recently, which got
Really?
a lot of people unsubbed his channel. But he's an occult practitioner. He's kind of he's got some Native American blood in him. He lives in Massachusetts or Vermont. Vermont. He lives in
How
Vermont.
did he announce it? Casually?
Oh yeah, he was fucking off his rocker. He was drunk, but I think he's got like 2 million subs or something. He's a pretty big YouTube channel. But yeah,
Yeah,
he was
have a
just
demon.
casually talking about it. Tell me about the comedian guy though.
Not there's not much to go about him, but the pack with the demon. I wasn't really going there because I didn't really want to go there. But yeah, I was gonna say pack with a demon. I usually when you have sometimes from what I experienced, usually not directly, but from what I heard, the demon wants to be known. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yeah,
In
sure.
some way where they have an altar set up or blah 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 blah, or they literally just announce straight up that I have a pact with this demon or some way. And so
Yeah, they want you to make videos about them on YouTube too. Like
yeah.
I did a little shout out to Karanzan 333 one time, and YouTube deleted it and gave me a strike.
Whoa. The fuck?
Yeah, so that's what they thought of that.
So yeah, man, I don't know.
I wouldn't personally suggest making a pact with any demon. That's just me. I think it's a lesser path. And, you know, it brings us back to the whole stories of Dr. Faustus and Mephistopheles. I think you're better off being a magician and pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. I think you can invoke and utilize and maybe beseech the services of individual entities and servitors and stuff like that. But I would say that it's not the path of a true spiritual warrior.
it's hard to say
That's just my
it's
suggestion.
hard to say that when someone has a pact with the demon, what that even means. Um,
Right. There's a girl on here on YouTube. I think she goes by Lilith, maybe. She's like the demon queen of New Orleans. And she does like her entire channel is based on doing demonic summoning and making pacts with demons and devils and stuff. Are you familiar with her?
I'm not. That's odd. But I
Yeah.
want to say, remember you were mentioning how instead of purposely doing like this thing, because people will, for example, people will do things to embody a spirit, almost to channel a spirit. Like for example, this one guy I know, he looks like Vlad the Impaler.
Right, right. The guy that wrote that book.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
He
Did you
didn't
know?
write
I
that.
don't. Oh,
I'm
okay.
not sure what that guy looks like. His name is Blackwood something or
Oh yeah,
something like that.
he was referencing someone else though. But I don't know if you watched any of Trump's speeches recently. Have you watched any of his presidential addresses?
I have my grandmother does, but I haven't.
Oh, okay. Watch the one that he did on his return to the assassination spot
Yesterday
in.
he did that.
Was that yesterday?
Yeah.
That was the gate of the Silver Key right there. Do you know who he was channeling, man? Watch
Nah,
it.
what did he say?
He was channeling Elvis constantly. Like
Mm,
every time something went down, he was like, thank you very much. And I was like, oh my God, you're channeling Elvis. How funny.
that's deep, bro. And you know what? I just want to give like a shout out almost to this guy who passed away, who would he would go into that same sort of pocket that you were doing, where he would point out these energies in the public media, and he was
Okay.
referencing Kamala Harris as Kali Ma, and how she
Oh,
represents the
clever.
Kali Yuga and things of
Okay.
this nature. And
Yeah,
so
it's
it's
funny.
funny.
So many people have been invoking her and just following the grand ceremony of invocation of the dark goddess and stuff like that. Like I won't even mention her name. If I do, it's Camel Hair Ass. Um,
Yeah, Kali
because that's
Ma.
magic. Like when you just did that, when you made that reference to her, that's the magic they're trying to use to usurp Trump. And we're better off spending our time supporting Trump than we are casting mud at her because she's obviously just a fucking total puppet.
And
And
to backtrack a little bit, people that don't know Kali Ma, she holds the head of someone. I can't remember exactly who, but it's a male figure, or
yeah,
she's stand.
it's a biblical reference to Bathsheba, the one who beheaded
Mhm.
John the Baptist.
And she kind of did that with Joe Biden, where she
Yep, you're
flipped the
right.
energy.
You're right. They're
And
playing
so
out that same trope.
I just want to say, rest in peace, Brother Panic, because before he died about a year ago, he did a video on this years ago,
Yeah,
And
yeah. I know you've mentioned Brother Panic a few times. He was able to tap into the flow. He knew what was going on.
he was
But
always sometimes
his
off, but
yeah,
some
his
of
style was a
his
little too erratic for me.
some of his videos I really like. And his
So he
wife,
passed recently?
he passed like a year ago, and they announced it on November 1st
Okay,
because he
wow.
embodied like the pan energy,
Yeah.
right?
All Saints Day.
Right.
Paulo Moss.
Exactly. So his wife now runs the channel. And so what she's doing is she watches these videos back, and when they resonate in real time, she
Baba
then
Yaga.
reposts them. So
Oh,
every
that's
time
good.
she posts a video, I tap in because P Diddy, he referenced P Diddy in 2016, talking about that. Oh, he's gay. He does the weird sex thing. Blah blah blah. And
Right.
and I was like, okay, now I'm catching on to what she's doing now. And so
Yeah.
they represent um the divine masculine feminine. And I liked him because he has a video about that where he because there's this new age thing where they encourage polygamy and shit
What
like
was
this.
his name again? Brother Panic? Is that right?
Brother Panic. And his real name was Larry. His real name was Larry. And he was a hip hop producer. He worked with Public Enemy.
Oh, really?
And do you know B.O.B.?
Yeah. And Flavor
He
Flav?
Flavor Flav. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I was
him.
a big Public Enemy fan in the 80s, man.
He was on the producer side of things.
Yeah, see, they knew about the flow. That old school, that OG rap, those dudes were in it. They were
Mhm.
East they
Mhm.
were
Mhm.
they were East Coast guys, right?
Mhm. Mhm. New York.
Yeah.
And B.O.B. he worked with B.O.B. recently. They were very close. They have a couple songs where they work together. So he was
Okay.
really in touch with that sort of music thing. And
Yeah, they got it, man. They were using their words to make millions and millions of dollars, right? That's
yeah,
magic.
man,
That's high level magic right there.
he did some magic. He definitely did. Him and his wife, man, they're interesting characters, and it was sad he passed away because it was kind of sudden for me.
Okay, how
Um,
old was he?
I'm not sure. There's not much information like that on him, but he was a grandfather, so he was into his 50s, 60s. But he
Okay.
really didn't take care of himself the best, I guess, in terms of food and properly eating and things like that. But
Yeah, don't worry about that shit too much, man. You can fucking walk on eggshells and you still might drop dead at 40. Like
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
my brother is a prime example, and many magicians. Like in kung fu, we have a tradition. They say if you want to be a kung fu master, you're going to be dead at 50, because
Mhm.
even if you walk on eggshells and do everything 100% correct, the more you use your energy and stuff, just the shorter your lifeline becomes. If you want to live to 120, you got to take a lot of naps, take it slow, take walks in the park, don't talk, keep your mouth
Mm.
shut 90% of the time, deep breathing, happy mood. Like longevity's, it's you're not going to achieve fame and wealth with
You know
longevity.
who's a perfect polar opposite example of that? Sam Kinison.
Okay, yeah, just balls to the wall,
He's
150
so
fucking
funny.
percent all the time.
He's so funny. Him and Rodney. Did you? I did the reference where you ever seen Back to School where he's like he's talking to the professor and he's like, hey, we should go to dinner sometime. And she's like, oh well, I'm kind of going with someone. He goes, oh, well, where are you going? And she and then she goes, well, she laughs and then she's like, well, I'd love to go with you, but I have class. And then he goes, oh well, s- he goes, well, call me sometime when you don't have class. But he's not talking.
Right, it's all what do they call that? A
He did it
double on.
way better. There's a way he does it where he's like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
well,
There's a
when you
there's
don't
a
have,
there's a French word I learned from Frater Tomas. It's a double entendre. Have you ever heard that expression?
yeah, 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 of course.
I hadn't. Frater Thomas taught me that, man. There are a lot of things I missed in life, but yeah, I love to learn things from other people. That's why it's so important to have fellowship on the path of magic, right? And like when encountering the paranormal and learning about magic and stuff like this, because you'll notice that everyone at in the intelligentsia, like CEOs, CFOs, all these spies in the public eye, they're all high level magicians.
Yeah, it's funny. Double entendres are used in rap songs like Eminem, Kendrick
Right.
Lamar, Joe Budden. Like you have to be some even do triple entendres.
I never even got into Eminem at all. He was like, I was already out of rap
Frank,
by
wait,
the time
listen. His
he showed
first
up.
two albums, if you read through his lyrics, because it's layered.
Right,
There's one layered where it's sick and it's like the primordial thoughts. Then it's
right,
humorous. Then there's a deeper message. And then it's like the production. Dr. Dre's producing it. And they're in
right.
the studio together and he's just I mean, I was literally because like not like I study almost like because it just fat because I listened to it and I'm like, oh my god, because he
Yeah, it
has
was
this song called
like I said,
My Fault.
it was after
Go
my
ahead.
time. But I watched a documentary on him recently, and they said he might be one of the greatest rappers of all time, and I didn't know that.
It's because it's not only his lyrical ability, but it's the storytelling behind it that
Right,
makes. And for someone like me, when I listen to music, I see images in my head. You know what I
right,
mean? So when he has this song called My Fault on his first album called the Slim Shady LP. And it's about a song where he meets a girl, gives her mushrooms, and she starts freaking out. Now, the first time my father played this song for me in third grade, and I remember listening to this song and being like, it's so weird. And again, like it's a triple entendre because when you're 12 years old and you listen to it, you hear it, but as you get older, it changes, and there's this whole other meaning behind it. And the way he goes in and out of characters, like he turns into like it's so funny. And the girl's like off mushrooms, and she's like I'm 26 and I'm not married. Like it was 30 years ago, but it's still so applicable to today. For someone like me who's 20 years old, when he was making this music, he was 20 years old. Now here I am, the first generation, able to hear it at. Do you get what I'm saying?
oh
Like
yeah, absolutely.
there was no early 2000s. So, and I was born in 2001. So the children of that time when it was made, now I'm here. And
Right.
it's crazy. And then there's the lyrical component where he just rhymes like weird things. And it's just so funny. It's so funny. That's the thing, Frank. It's funny. There's humor to it. And he's powerful, man. I googled his IQ. It's 118. Like he's not dumb. He's smart. He knows what he's doing.
Okay. How's my audio? Can you still hear me?
It's a little muffled. You're covering the mic, I
A little
believe,
muffled?
maybe.
Okay. No, no, no. I switched over to a Bluetooth mic because I wanted to make myself a cup of coffee.
Yeah, you're good.
As long as you can, yeah, as long as you can hear me at all, then I'm good. So,
But
yeah,
yeah,
like I said, Eminem was after my time, and I was moved on. My rap was and what I listened to it for a few years. It was the Dr. Dre. Oh no, I think we lost connection. You still there? Hello?
yeah, I hear you better now.
Yeah, Brand Nubian. Did you ever hear those guys?
Yeah, I know them.
Okay. Yeah, so I was always tripped out on them because they're talking about the black man is God and stuff, and then the 5%ers. Have you ever heard of the 5%ers?
Yes, yes, I'm familiar.
So I'm thinking Brother Panic's probably a 5%er, right? That's an
He's
East
of that
Coast thing.
esque, and but now, but this is why he's so great, because he's a chaos magician. That's what he really is, and that's what he claims. And his teacher, because there's this community where it's like these teachers of generations, and they go back all the way to the 70s, I think, or 80s, and it's like
Okay.
Brother Panic, Bobby
Probably
Hemmett.
even further back, like the '60s, the Black Panthers and shit, right?
Exactly. That's where all this shit's stemming from. C. Freeman
Yeah.
L. And then there's another guy after C. Freeman L. who taught him. And like all these people are connected. And but yeah, you're on point there. 5% are all them people. They I don't really know what they believe, but they believe like there's the 5%ers, like, and then the 95, it goes even deeper. Then there's like a 1%, but the 95% are like sheep, essentially.
All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. I got booted out of my own live stream, man. My computer broke connection, and it doesn't look like it's rebooted yet. Let me see here. See what I can do. Okay, shows me connected. Let me try over here. Welcome back. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me all right? Hello, can you hear me? Is there anybody in there? All right, probably a perfect opportunity to do a channel update then and say, thank you for tuning in, everyone. Wanderer, Wayfarer, and Wildcat alike, wherever you are, whoever you are, and whenever you may be receiving this transmission. I am broadcasting to you today from Twilight Zone Old Peking, from behind the bamboo firewall, deep within the kingdom, the central kingdom of the celestial dragon. I'm your host for the hour, and it looks like we've gone 3 hours, man. That's a big deal. That's a big deal for the Frank Monday channel. Probably one of the longest live streams I've ever done. I'm going to go ahead and sign off for now, make myself a cup of coffee, and then reboot on the other side because 3 hours is far too long of a video to upload to the channel. I was having a real good conversation with the King of Hell, and even King Stefan of the Insanity Machine came by with Team Evil for a little while. It's good to see you, King Stephen. Good to see you as well, King of Hell, Freda Francis, Jersey Devil, Asmodeus, Arhamon, whatever name you're going by when you transmit through the mercurial energy. Had a good time, feeling really gay, guys. Lots of gaiety and gratitude. I hope y'all good looking, sexy people are doing well out in Happy Land. If you are interested in live streaming a little more, then look for me on the other side. I'm going to take a 5 minute break and then re-upload. Right now, I'm going to check really quick on BoobTube and see if the transmission has reconnected and if the sign off is working. Let me do that here on my phone real quick, guys, and see if it's working. It shows me live coffee with Frank Monday, 100-day challenge. It shows that I am still alive. It shows me live coffee with Frank. Yeah, and I am getting a little bit on the playback there, and it does show that one person's watching. So yeah, guys, good fun. 100-day challenge. Join today. Check me out on www.buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. All right. Remember, I'm not a criminal, guys. I'm just your average individual practitioner of magic, wandering through the pathways of the material realm and looking for other wayfarers along the way to enjoy some fellowship. If you are back in the chat, give me fives if you can hear me. I'm trying to do an audio check. Are we still good on audio, everyone? Yeah, it doesn't look like anybody's here. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign off for now, and I will reboot after I've made myself a fresh cup of coffee. Until then, keep doing good magic, everyone. Ad Astra per Aspera.